What is going on, everybody? It is episode 602 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. It's Woman Wednesday, and I am currently getting assaulted by the harsh tundra breeze of the air conditioner right now because a misogynist sitting across from me turned it on.
Well, what it is, guys, is I actually mansplain and manspread as I turn the air on so that I can assert dominance in this environment. I say, look, guys,
we need to report you.
there's an episode of the show Burn Notice where he talks about putting a bug in like a remote control, and he goes, it's a great all-purpose choice because it's usually in the hands of the most powerful guy in the room. That's it, right
It's
there.
you.
This is my...
You asserted your dominance.
Yes.
Also, you know, your chair should make an HR complaint against you. The way that you heard it every day.
I did that too. I literally
The way
heard
that
it,
you
like,
hurl yourself into the chair.
when I so
unnecessary.
Chair lives matter.
my not my bed, but the what do you call it? The mattress, the
box spring?
The box spring. It like caved on one side.
Oh my gosh, Brett, you have a problem.
And I don't like.
Are you like afraid of monsters under the bed, so you jump in?
I had to literally switch it around so that it was on the other side because it
Jumps
caved
from
on the.
where the light switch is.
I used to do that too.
Yeah. So I had to flip the box spring around.
I'm just imagining you jumping into bed from 5 feet away.
Basically, I Randy Savage. I dropped the elbow from the
Yeah,
top rope.
Because you gotta be
every night.
manly about it.
Every night I go, oh yeah, and then I drop the elbow.
That's literally what you do when you jump in your chair.
And I go, oh yeah.
So yeah. Anyway, Sarah is here,
I'm back for Woman Wednesday. Thank you.
as I'm sure
Thanks
you
for
are all
having
aware.
me.
They're
Yep.
judging me in my sitting
Surprise.
habits, in my air habits.
It's freezing us out.
You're wearing a shirt with no sleeves. It's not my fault.
You're giving us
It's
the
80
cold
degrees.
shoulder.
Well, she's the only one with the cold shoulder because she doesn't have sleeves on.
My shoulders are partially bare right now, so
There, I turned it down 2 notches.
thank you.
I turned it down 2
Thank
notches.
you. I dressed for the weather, and the weather was hot.
And by that I mean up 2 notches, because turning it down 2 notches would actually make it colder. That doesn't
Oh.
make any sense. I turned
Okay.
it up 2 notches.
Yay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks for mansplaining that.
Happy to do that for you guys. I know how hard that can be, understanding basic stuff like that. So guys, I'm kidding. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today. It's going to be a very fun, chill Wednesday here. See what I did there? Chill? No?
Nope.
All right. My humor is lost on this podcast.
We're just chilling.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So there's this hit piece written by...
Already simping for The Rock.
Okay, I'm not saying it's not true, but the nature of it is that it's a hit piece, even if it's true.
I thought a hit piece implies it's.
I mean, I think just by the virtue that some of
something.
it says like we didn't speak to any actual sources means that it's at least partially a hit piece. There's one part in there. We'll get into it, okay?
right,
so The Rock is
okay.
being called a diva by journalists now. One of these journalists apparently has a long-standing grudge with The Rock. So we're going to get into that. What are the reasons for this? Because he's, been Hollywood's golden boy for quite some time. A lot of people believe he's one of only a few people that are actually considered box office gold. Whether that's actually true or not these days, I don't know if that's actually true. But he is still what you'd consider a movie star. They put him in big budget movies.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that writing and everything they have to say about him. We're also going to talk about this new movie coming out from Netflix that is being labeled as pro-AI propaganda. And that's actually one of the most off-limits topics in Hollywood is you cannot come out on the side. It's just like saying that, you're pro-studio, which everyone in Hollywood that's not an executive gets really mad at you. You're not allowed to say that you're pro-AI because it's going to take jobs away. So this movie is being labeled as pro-AI. It stars Jennifer Lopez. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Russell Brand's kind of... very, very quick hop and skip through baptism, and he's changing his life, and all these things are coming out. I imagine that you guys, with your beliefs, have strong opinions on this, so we'll talk
His
about that.
evolution is actually becoming very confusing.
You think so? It's
Yeah.
like he's a
We'll
confusing
see if I
dude,
can
so.
decipher it. We'll see.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that. We're going to do a bunch of other stuff. So if you guys are ready, we can... Oh, no. before we get started, hit the like button on this video. Subscribe to I almost forgot. Subscribe to this channel. If you have not subscribed here yet already, guys, please and thank you. We are past 111,000 subscribers, and a lot of you came out for episode 600, which was fantastic to see, so thank you for that. Share these videos with your friends so that more people can find this podcast, our segments, our shorts, our episodes. We want more people to come and hang out and join the show, so please go ahead and do that. It is the best way to support us. And also remember that all super chats over $20, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read them right then and there. Now, are you ladies ready?
Now we're ready.
Yes. Okay. Good.
I am ready.
She's good.
Now
All
that
right.
I have my coffee.
Here we go. First things first. Good news if you like fast food. I never get tired of food topics. McDonald's is making their largest burger ever, and some customers will get to test it early.
This is extreme clickbait because
I love it.
In the tweet, they
is
put
the
this
tweet.
picture of a
It's like the worst paint Photoshop.
of a McDouble-ubble-ubble.
It is literally
How many
double
is that?
double.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 patties.
They didn't even try to make a real one.
No, the sesame seeds are mysteriously all in the same place.
I love it.
But they have a best burger initiative, so they're changing a bunch of stuff. And they have a Biscoff McFlurry coming up.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
It's
Biscuit?
like an oxymoron, right? Where it's like fancy, but it's a McFlurry.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
McFlurries are overrated anyway. I stand by that.
I haven't had a McFlurry in years. I mean, the ice cream machine's always broken.
It's literally just soft serve ice cream with Oreo bits in it.
Right.
There's nothing special
Can
about
I get
it.
an Oreo McFlurry? I'll say that every time McDonald's gets mentioned. That might be one of the greatest videos in the history
We
of the
need to
internet.
find it.
Yeah, the actual version of that one is fantastic.
We always think that the audience wants us to share things with them when we're really just like forcing them to look at our memes.
They love this, right?
really like
Y'all love this.
Eventually, this show will just ditch celebrity stuff altogether, and will just become Today in Weird
Foodcast.
Internet. It'll be Today in Weird Internet, because I find way more stuff where I'm like, oh, that would be fun to talk about. That has zero to do with what we talk about. Like I have a whole folder.
do that
of
sometimes.
stuff like that. Like maybe do like once a month, do like an off episode where it's nothing that you talk about.
That's fine.
I
I would
do
be
that.
fine
Like
with that.
maybe like reverse
People
all
like
the
that.
thumbnails so they're going the opposite way and invert the colors.
Yeah.
Could do that. That'd be cool. I want to try it. Okay, I don't eat McDonald's ever. Like I used to. So once a month I would go, because there's a McDonald's out here like what 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
Once a month I would do that, and since have kind of removed it from my diet altogether. Although yesterday I did break down and get Taco Bell.
I did too.
I did.
But
So-
that's not me breaking
guys
down.
are
That's just what I do.
No, so
That's
we were
just
we were
normal.
gonna go to the nicer one over here, but it was like pouring rain out. So we did the even worse thing, which
So
was
you weren't bougie.
we ordered Taco Bell
No, for
Oh.
delivery?
delivery.
Oh,
Wow,
that's
now
a
I'm
low.
judging you.
That's a low.
Now-
yeah.
now I'm judging.
But McDonald's, like, they notoriously have the thinnest burgers ever. They're
Yeah.
they're barely there.
Yep.
Really.
Really pounded
You
down.
like go like this and it disappears. It's like a quarter.
Yeah,
You
it's
spin
funny.
it,
Like
it disappears.
they're blamed for the obesity crisis. It's just the smallest burger I ever saw.
Yeah.
Getting
there's
blamed
no actual
for
food.
obesity.
Well, it's
in
because
this
it's all the
country.
bun, I guess.
I guess, but they're
Yeah.
making the actual patty bigger, reportedly, which is weird because they're definitely not adding more meat to it.
Right, that's what I was about
They're
to
not
say.
going to intentionally make it more expensive to make it, right? Like,
Yeah.
that doesn't seem right. They're just going to
gonna
add
be
like
cheaper or the same
plastic
price?
to it.
The thing I hate
Add
about
crickets?
McDonald's more than anything is the ketchup. I hate their ketchup. It's super sweet and gross.
It's just
Does it
ketchup.
taste
I mean,
different?
all ketchup is the
I
same.
mean, all fast food ketchup is corn syrup.
Yeah,
Literally.
It's more corny and more syrupy
Yeah.
than usual.
They're poisoning us.
They are seed oils and all that stuff.
They, what is the
Agenda
saying?
of
They
some
give you
sort.
they give you the poison so they can Wait, what? So they can sell you the medicine.
solution.
Yeah.
The-
Well, that, like I said, that was
what-
literally that episode.
What is
of that
it again?
show.
You've had too much fast food.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get into your brain.
Well, it's, in the chat, AJ Clark says, "Bro, it's Heinz." Well, if it is, I don't like Heinz ketchup. Because it's too sweet.
Doesn't like George Bush's family own Heinz?
That's
Wait,
that-
really?
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I believe like
Oh.
they're related to it. Or
Is
like,
that the H in
Clintons,
HW?
George Heinz
Yeah.
Bush, not Herbert Walker. It's
ketchup.
Heinz Walker Bush.
Okay.
It's a great name.
That is kind of a cool name.
It is. That's what it should be. It's, I see more of George Bush than maybe anyone because my algorithm is so keyed into 9/11.
Your
memes.
algorithm.
My algorithm is, oh my God. My algorithm is literally like, it seems like some days it's
Blowing
half
my
9/11
mind.
memes.
But he had nothing to do with.
That's what I've been told. I have no idea. I can't speak one way or the other. I got a text today from an anonymous number saying that Donald Trump Jr. had big, like a lot
He
of
had state
information.
secrets
Yeah, he had
for you.
state secrets. Let me see if I can,
really?
I
In
wonder
your
if I can pull this
email.
up. It
Like
was
for you
really funny.
specifically?
I got this and I tweeted about it. I'm like, guys, I got the scoop right now.
The emails that Trump sends always have the craziest bylines.
It says attached is highly classified info only for you from Trump Jr. Brett. There's only 15 minutes to review it before it expires. Of course, I clicked on the link right away. I always click on the links.
Do you really?
What is it?
Oh my gosh,
What's
okay.
the classified info?
I can't tell you. It's classified. Are
All
you
right,
kidding me?
fine.
Like, so, but anytime I get a text from a number I don't know with a link, a suspicious link, I click on it. Because you never know when the serious info is going to come your way. How
the
am I gonna be
Nigerian princes of the world are listening.
They're going to give me my money.
Yep.
Okay, they're going to get me my money back. But the point is like, how am I supposed to get my scoops if I don't click on the random, possibly malicious links?
Right.
You know?
Super important government information.
Anyways, I would tell you, but it's a secret. I can't tell you guys now.
Okay.
It's between me and Trump
Dang.
Jr.
We'll
Darn
have
it.
to live without that secret info.
Go and get the McDonald's burger when you can, but then complain about the seed oils after, I say. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right.
We're seeing Fall Guy tomorrow.
Yes.
I'm actually looking forward to this.
Yes.
So at the premiere, they're doing all these stunts.
Well, we shouldn't even have prefaced. We should have just shown the clip. Here, guys.
2, 1, action!
I mean, wouldn't it have been cooler if they didn't?
If they
tell
didn't
people?
count down the.
I guess it would have been hard to rig that up. Those guys are just standing there for an awkwardly long period
Yeah,
of
and
time.
it could have caused alarm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, and I guess to do a safe stunt, you have to do the countdown and everything.
Right.
So they're actually breaking their own rules if they don't do that.
Yeah.
Now, the real sad thing is if like a stunt guy ended up getting hurt while
Why
doing
does
the promo,
the one stunt guy kind of look like Hassan Piker?
which I can't.
No,
tell.
it's just the beard.
This video,
It's just the beard.
the one like closest to us.
Yeah.
That guy?
Yeah.
Yep, it's the beard and the like. The
If I
haircut.
squint, it could be Daniel Radcliffe with the beard.
I guess.
Yeah.
Shout out Daniel Radcliffe. What happened?
They should have done something like this for like all the John Wick premieres, where
Yeah.
like Keanu just rolls down a bunch of stairs, like with a guy while beating him up all the way
Common.
down to the floor.
Well, you were probably going to see more of this for future movies.
Yep, look at that. That's a lot of fun. But and then there's more than that.
A stunt performer jumps from the balcony in the theater.
I thought this was cool. They're like, why is the mat there?
Well, you think that they do it without mats when they're filming?
I think that the parkour dudes do it into the grass, right?
They
so they
do?
got to put the mat out there. But there's another angle of it from like one of the officials. This is very cool, and I'm excited to see this movie a lot.
Oh my god!
They should have Tom Cruise do it.
Oh,
You know
don't
what?
don't
This
give
is
Tom
like-
Cruise any ideas. Now he's gonna like hang off a plane. on
This
his
is
way
the
into next
impact of
movie.
Tom Cruise, I think.
It is.
He's like challenging people to do these things.
And it is true. Like I saw a lot of the comments under this were basically saying like, look, why isn't there a stunt performers category for the Oscars?
Is there?
There should be.
There's not.
There is no stunt performers category for the Oscars.
But yet there is a special effects category.
I mean, or maybe that's changed in recent years. I don't think so. But a lot of people.
Well, it's only because the stunt performers aren't famous. That's why, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people win awards at Oscars.
Or there
that
could
aren't
just be
famous.
an award for the movie itself, like best stunt.
They do. There's a whole set at the Oscars for the below the line work, or like for the other departments without famous people that goes on before the live broadcast for all the people that aren't the ones that you would know. So why isn't there a category like that? There should be.
Because they're elitist scum.
Yeah, that's
are
messed up. Give him some like airtime.
So we're seeing that tomorrow, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's going to be a lot of fun, and I think that review will have out Saturday morning.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna have to move some stuff.
Well,
around.
we'll see.
We'll have to see when that's gonna come out. I don't want to wait and put it out at the end of the day because I think for a while we were putting out the reviews after the episode, but then it interferes with the algorithm. So
The
yeah.
Al Gore ithm.
See, I think that there's a market for broadcasting the Oscar stuff beforehand to like the elitist Hollywood type, like the film nerds. Like I think that maybe Kino Corner would like to watch like the Oscars before the main broadcast for the stuff that's
He would.
actually interesting to the people who love the process of filmmaking. Not that Kino Corner is a film nerd. He's a
No,
film
he
fan.
is. He
He's a film
definitely
fan.
is a film nerd.
We love Kino Corner here.
Yes.
All right, this was big news yesterday. So if you know who Tim Pool is, I'm not sure. He's a podcaster. He hosts a
Yeah, he does
podcast
this, like,
called
political
Timcast.
podcast.
It's called Timcast. They talk about politics. They talk about all sorts of stuff like that. And he is sponsoring a NASCAR driver, Cody Dennison. He's also known as Camelot on YouTube, if you haven't heard of him. He was on Pop Culture Crisis once about 2 months ago, I think.
You guys are the only YouTube people I know. That I've heard of.
Well, this is when I was actually out of town, I
Yeah.
think. So I didn't meet Camel, but
I like the idea that he goes by Camel, too.
well, it's Camel Cast.
Timcast announced a new sponsorship deal with NASCAR driver Cody Dennison on Tuesday evening. In a post on X, host Tim Pool sent up pictures of Dennison's car. So before this, he was sponsored for the first half of the season by Ethan Van Sciver and Cyberfrog, which they crowdfunded there and did money to get that car wrap. But this is very, very cool, and it's a great way to reach a new audience for Tim. And I imagine there's a lot of, at least when they were discussing this, so they were down in the green room, and I was like, I basically told Tim, I was like, you got to talk to this dude and see if you guys can make this happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of overlap in those audiences there.
For sure.
I have to believe.
Yeah.
Right?
It's cool.
So he says, we're looking sharp for Kansas. Can't wait to take this to 185 miles an hour Saturday on FS1. That is really big news, and that's great advertising and promotion for Tim.
Jessica, if you're watching, if you designed this, you did a great job.
She did.
Yeah, it looks badass.
Yeah.
It says the upcoming race is Saturday is the Tide 150 at Kansas Speedway, where Dennison will compete. He's also a YouTuber and spoke about the sponsorship back in March, where he said that Tim was the whole reason he was able to race this year. He was explaining to me like the way that like the funding of this goes and like the sponsorships, and it all seems very, very complicated.
Do you think that he will lose other opportunities for associating himself with something political?
I don't think so.
For
Like I think in
sponsorships?
that world he should be fine.
Okay.
Like
I mean, the NASCAR audience is right wing, right?
I mean, do you still remember the Bubba Wallace thing? Like, was it 2 years ago with the garage hang, like the rope for the garage, and he said it was a noose, and it was just to pull down the garage door.
No, I don't remember that.
You don't remember that? So like 2 years
make a
ago,
joke or
somebody in the
something?
chat probably remembers this. So they found like you put them on garages that you have to manually put up and down,
Yeah.
right, so that you can reach it.
Yeah.
And they said it was a noose, but it was very clearly just something that you use to pull down a garage door.
Who said it was a noose?
The Bubba Wallace and the FBI came and investigated.
What?
Yes, I'm not
That's
kidding.
insane.
Yeah. Somebody says Bubba Wallace got paid to do that. I have no idea if that is true or not, but yeah, that was.
We should have a PCC NASCAR driver next.
I think that
We
was
should do our-
around the time of Smollett, like pretty close to around the time of Smollett. So there was a lot of
okay.
hysteria
Oh,
going
so
on.
noose was a touchy word.
A lot of hysteria going on around that time. But
Yeah.
very good for Camelot, and hopefully he does well and can represent the company. Again, I've never heard of this Timcast show, but I heard it's pretty good. Okay.
Our cousin show.
Yes. Wait, why cousin?
I don't know.
It's like
It's
like,
What would it
distant
be,
enough
like-
now.
yeah.
Father.
Okay. All right. Shakira, this is so she had like a couple interviews that were all. She had like this one interview where she said something that a lot of people were saying is really based. And remember that?
Well, she said that Barbie was a bad message for young boys
'Cause she has two
because she
sons.
has sons, and she didn't like the message of the Barbie movie. But then she made a statement like right after that was more so feminist.
Yeah.
It seemed like she was trying to get favor back on her side.
I think they were from the same interview. So like, a lot of
Really?
people, yeah, because a lot of people were like,
Okay.
how can you be both anti-feminist and feminist in the same interview? Is wild. That's not wild. It's literally just
Having two different
opinions.
about different things.
shocking.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in a recent interview with Marie Claire, she talked about monogamy, and she said monogamy is a utopia, which is, it's weird that you even need to refer to it like that, as if it's not the default state of human relationships. But she's saying she learned this from her parents. I can't say I don't believe in love because I see the example of my parents after 50 years together, how they look into each other's eyes and hold hands and can't live apart from each other. I've witnessed love. I just haven't been that lucky myself. Monogamy is a utopia, but I've compensated in other ways with the love of my fans and my children and friends. Oscar Wilde said that friendship is the purest form of love, and I think that's true. It lasts longer, at least in my experience.
I feel like you could have a whole episode just talking about that statement, about the idea that
Does
love of friends is more pure
friendship
than
fill
love
the
of family.
void that a romantic relationship
Yeah.
is supposed to?
Well, isn't the translation to Utopia literally no place? Because Utopia is kind of a fool's errand.
Well, I mean, she's
I know she's not using it in
being
that
super
context.
literal, yeah,
It's
but
funny if she was. She's super erudite.
it's kind of sad if you think about it.
I mean, I imagine like we get rid of her from this and we just put J-Lo in there. She's like, I haven't been very lucky in love. 6 marriages later.
Do you think that she would get negative feedback if she said something about like polyamory being a bad thing, or are you only
Being a bad thing.
like
That's interesting.
that would
probably. I mean, she'd probably get some pushback, but I still think that would be niche enough that the pushback would be minimal. But it depends on what she says, right? Like, because you know how the Hollywood is. It's not.
you're
so
only
much,
allowed to say, oh, it's not right for me.
Yes, it's not. It's very much the world of live and let live on most all things. And even if you articulate a good reason as to why it's not for you, they'll say, why do you even have to say that? Even if you're prompted by an interviewer.
It's weird because the stereotypical story of polyamory that you hear from like, I don't know, anons on Reddit usually is that it's the husband who introduces the idea because he thinks that if they're polyamorous or have an open relationship, he's going to get a ton of attention from women, but then it doesn't work out that way because dating apps are not structured for that.
Yeah.
Or he's just like not attractive. And then the wife, who initially didn't think it was a good idea, ends up getting a ton of attention from other men, and then he's like, no, like we need to go back to monogamy now. Like that's the stereotypical story
It's
of how that goes.
It's funny because like every show in the mid 2000s took a stab at doing at least one episode. Like if you watch like any of like the episodic crime shows, there's always one episode where it's some quirky situation where they're in a throuple. I remember the show Elementary did an episode about a throuple back in like 2013.
I don't remember this ever being a thing.
And it was two male doctors and a female doctor. And that was the thing.
But usually when you look at polycules, it's one woman and like 5 men.
And that's and even this one they did too. And let's just say that the people that they used for that episode were a lot better looking than the ones you tend to see when you see pictures of people in those types of relationships.
And then there's like the whole category of swingers who consider themselves a totally different thing. In reality, it's all the same. It's all just degenerate.
Yeah. The
never works out for people.
And then House did an episode about an open relationship where the whole thing is basically about how he's saying that they're not happy, they're miserable, and everyone's like, oh, but they look so happy. And they find out that they're not happy, that the husband only agreed to the open marriage because he lost his job and he'd been hiding from his wife for like a year, that they were living on credit cards, and he basically just did it out of guilt to get her mind off the fact, without her knowing, like to basically make up for the fact that he had ruined their financial life. And then they find out that the whole family is actually just miserable, which is, and so probably wouldn't be how it'd be written now. Now it would be written as if it's a good thing and that they're going to be perfectly happy in an open relationship.
And everyone else is just judging them, and they're just jealous.
They don't understand.
They also did an episode on porn, and the whole thing was about a guy who was married to a woman, and then they both did porn, and how they were happy, and then they turned out to not be happy.
In the
show.
episode?
A different episode, but they did like it was still a commentary on it, but they at least introduced those ideas, and the various members of the team had their own opinions on either being not judgmental or judgmental on what it was. So
interesting.
But is monogamy a utopia? I feel like that's kind of putting it on a pedestal too.
Well, yeah, it's like just because a relationship is monogamous doesn't mean it's going to be successful. And the truth is the vast majority of monogamous relationships aren't successful if your metric for success is a marriage that actually lasts. Like most of the time, monogamous relationships fail. I would say 100% of the time, polyamorous relationships fail.
For sure. That's not the answer.
Yeah.
But I think saying that it's like, if it's not a utopia, then it's not worth it is also kind of what she's saying if you read in between the lines, which I think a lot of people feel.
That's the Disneyfication of love, though. Like, okay, so I've been watching once upon a time, and you can see how women's views of marriage got destroyed.
Through this show, single-handedly, this show ruined
the fairy tale sentiment. The fairy tale sentiment has existed for long before this show ever came about. Fairy tales have been around forever, and there is that fairy tale aspect to love that's been portrayed in storytelling. That's not a bad thing because it's a story, but that people take their stories very seriously nowadays, and we see the way that people have a hard time separating what they see in entertainment from the real world. How many kids these days want to be influencers rather than doctors on the internet, right? Like, so you see there, it's very rarely about how much work it takes to actually make a marriage last.
Well, that's not going to be portrayed in
Exactly.
a TV show or a movie or whatever. But I heard this interesting take that like you should argue in front of your children and not hide your like spousal arguments from your children. I mean, as long as you're not like screaming and throwing things at each other, which you shouldn't be doing anyway. But if you like show them that you can respectfully disagree with each other as adults and show them how you do conflict resolution in a healthy way, it would be better for them to witness that and not think that you're just in a utopian relationship where no conflict ever happens.
Interesting.
That's probably why divorce comes as such a surprise to the kids too, because the conflict has been hidden from the kids.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I mean, I would say like maybe not every argument, but like, because I think even as a child, like even if you see healthy conflict resolution in their minds, they still see their guardians like arguing.
Maybe they don't have the complexity to understand that, like that it's still safe to.
But I actually really like that idea of like maybe even like talking through the argument and including them if it's about something that has to do with them or about something that's not like a big deal or like an explosive argument. That's actually kind of smart.
Got me thinking.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to say depending on how old they are, because if they're really young, they're not going to be able to process what's going on.
Yeah.
Like that's one of those things that's a great idea from the perspective of an adult.
Maybe.
But
I
as
did.
a kid,
I wasn't sure if I agreed with it or not, but it's definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't remember like my parents ever. Like I can't. Like, I don't have.
They never
like,
argued
strong,
in front of you?
I don't have strong memories of them.
But there's almost certainly an argument that happened that just you weren't witnessing.
Yeah.
Like there are no spouses who don't argue, right? And I don't mean argue as in fight. I mean have disagreements.
Yeah.
Right. Or some
That's
kind
a normal
of tension.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think that's one of those things where the farther we get away from being kids, the more we're like, oh, that would be a great idea for kids. It's like, what it really?
Maybe we don't get it.
It's kind of in the same way that they're like a kid should be allowed to do this, or a kid should be able to pick his own gender at school.
Yeah.
Well, that's not an idea.
Maybe you're treating kids a little bit too much like adults.
I feel like we're constantly both over and underestimating kids.
Yes. All at the same time. Well, I didn't think Shakira would be who would be bring about a thoughtful discussion.
Thank you, Shakira.
There's
Your
you
hips
learn
don't
something
lie.
new every single day. This was making the internet go a little bit nuts for a while, and it's with nothing at all but a photo.
Yeah, Justin Bieber just, without context, posted some photos of himself crying, just tears streaming down his face in a bucket hat. And I guess his wife commented on the post saying he's a pretty crier.
I guess she's like, I have to speak on this now because they're going to wonder what the hell's going on.
And what's even more strange is that Britney Spears, before she deactivated her Instagram most recently, she reposted this photo. Like, no caption, no context.
Is this about Diddy?
I mean,
what
of
I
course
was
people
thinking.
are going to use that as like an engagement farm. Like I bet people reposted his photos and they were like, Justin Bieber mysteriously crying after Diddy lawsuit update. Like I don't think there's necessarily related.
Look, maybe
it's
he
very strange to post pictures or videos of yourself crying.
Maybe
I never
he just watched The Notebook and he loves the movie The Notebook. Maybe that's what it was.
Is this the whole like men need to express their emotions thing?
Now,
in
like
action?
the better reactions of Hailey Bieber's like, you're giving me the ick. Like, could you not do that? She's like, it's not that you're crying, it's that you're posting a photo of yourself crying. Could you please delete this?
Yeah, and at the same time, he also posted a picture of himself like staring at another woman's ass.
That was really funny.
That was that his response to her comment?
I don't know.
It just says like, I got options. Like,
Yeah.
what do you think it is?
I mean, we can't know
Yeah.
for sure, but definitely strange. I don't think anyone should post photos of themselves crying.
It's definitely a cry for help, right?
It's too much.
Like if someone wasn't Justin Bieber, like just a random person on the internet posts a photo of themselves crying, what's their motive, right? It's like a
it's
cry
attention,
for help.
right?
Yeah, or just attention. But does Justin Bieber need to do this for attention?
There was the video the other day of this woman going around where she's like she's a nurse or a doctor in scrubs, and she's like lost a patient today, and it's her like taking off her mask and putting her hands above her head.
Oh, yeah.
Like crying, and then it cuts to this guy who like he's just very clearly just bought the scrubs for the skit, and like takes out his phone, pulls a tripod out, opens it, turns his phone on, sets it up, and then goes against the wall, notices that it's not framed correctly, goes and reframes it. And
Me
then
when
goes
I'm an
back-
empath.
And then goes back to the wall and starts crying. I mean, that's what that is.
Totally the people
Yeah.
who call themselves empaths.
That one bothers me. That one more than anything. It's like, no, you just
Everyone has empathy.
yes.
Yeah, and you can control your emotions. You can regulate.
All right.
This is a debate, I think.
This is a
that
little
we
bit
need
of
to
a debate.
open up.
But it's I think more than anything, what this will end up devolving into 9 times out of 10 is just making fun of boomers.
Yes.
Just a little
Yes.
bit. Do you want to tell everybody what's going on with Jeff Goldblum?
Yes, Jeff Goldblum recently proudly stated that he is not going to leave a penny of his $40 million net worth to either of his children. And we've actually seen similar statements from
Jackie
Gordon
Chan,
Ramsay, from
Gordon
Jackie
Ramsay.
Chan, and other celebrities too. They seem to be proud of the fact that they're not giving any of their money to their kids.
This is like I see a lot of discourse on Twitter about like the evils of boomers and the stupidity of boomers. I tend to be one of those people most of the time when people complain about boomers. I say, yes, you're right. What are you going to do about it? Because it just always seems like whining to me. But in this case, we have a very specific example in which we can draw from. And I asked the question in the poll today, ladies and gentlemen. I said, should those of wealth leave their money to their children? Right now, we have 81% saying that you should.
Guys, if you said no, I do want to hear your explanation as to why. But it should be mentioned, Jeff Goldblum is a boomer. He is 71 years old, but his children are still very young. He says that his children, Charlie, 8 years old, and River, 6, will have to support themselves when they get older. Hey, you've got to row your own boat. It's an important thing to teach kids. I'm not going to do it for you, and you're not going to want me to do it for you. You've got to figure out how to find what's wanted and needed and where that intersects with your love and passion and what you can do. And even if it doesn't, you might have to do that anyway.
Look, there's good sentiment that doesn't extend entirely to practice here, meaning that instilling good values, good work ethic, strong morals in your kids is a good thing. But
I don't think giving your kids money necessarily does anything for them. It just gives them an opportunity
Correct.
to do more for
it's
themselves.
kind of like
Right.
it's kind
And
of
keep it
like
within the family.
Shaq saying like he's not going to give his kids don't get any of his wealth unless they get 2 college degrees. That's something that only originates. But instilling good values in your kids isn't a bad thing. But there is this boomer take from a previous generation where it's pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Well, his kids, depending on how out of touch he is, it's kind of like when they go to Bill Gates and they're like, how much does a gallon of milk cost? And then these kids don't receive anything from him and they got to live just like the rest of us. Fine, sure. But is that what a parent's supposed to do?
I think that, didn't Chet Hanks say that he hasn't gotten any money from his parents?
Yeah. I mean, I was like whenever I see stuff like that, I'm like, did they buy your apartment?
But also that's,
I don't know.
an inheritance is totally different because that's after you've passed on. And hopefully your children have already had their own children and they're building a life. So it's different than just doling out a monthly check to your 26-year-old adult child.
And my issue with this is actually a lot simpler. So Jeff Goldblum, you said he's how old? He's 72?
71.
So he's 71 years old. He's worth, according to the internet, he's worth $40 million. He's still working regularly. The money's not going to his kids. What is he working for other than to make himself more money? You're sacrificing time with your children that many parents would kill to have to be able to spend unlimited time with their kids to continue working. all for money that's not going to help your family in the end anyways.
Well,
that
if
doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense
it makes
to me.
you look like a jerk.
Yeah,
Let me
if
put it that
it's
way.
not going to your kids, then your wealth is going to go to your wife, first of all, who's 30 years younger than him, and then probably to either government assets or NGOs. And they're not going to use your money any better than your kids could have. It would be one
that's
thing
worse.
if, like,
that is actually offensive and disgusting.
Yeah.
The idea that you would give your money to faceless, disgusting bureaucrats or NGOs or charities that dole out 60, 70% of it to freaking executives is pathetic, and you should be embarrassed with yourself. I don't care how much research you did.
It's weird because at 71, he's the age that a lot of people in the past would have been grandparents or even great grandparents, maybe just a century ago. But he has an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. That was like shocking to me. And it's because he got married in 2014 when his wife was 31. And I'm just picturing her pestering him every day. When are we going to have kids? When are we going to have kids?
Yeah.
And finally he relents. And now she's, 41 with these young children. It would be different maybe if he had adult children who are, say, 28 and 26, and they're acting like spoiled brats and crashing cars and doing drugs. And then maybe you could
them
reassess
off.
at that point.
Yeah.
But this is much different. This seems to be part of his fundamental values.
Right. These kids that he also had very late in life and aren't going to get to grow up with their father.
Also,
Yeah.
I do want to kind of push back and pull back to what I said. Like, I don't know where his money is going, but I have to assume that he's not leaving it to his kids, that it's going to go to charities.
If it's not left to charities, it will be seized by the government.
Yeah,
Right.
there'll be just capital gains tax, and then there'll be the wealth tax and all this stuff, and your money will be taxed and taxed and taxed, so that the government can send a bunch of money overseas that nobody in this country will ever see a dime of, and you will see that as virtuous, which is even more pathetic.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And I think there's just a general problem with the boomer generation. I know we crap on Gen Z more on this show than the boomer generation, actually. So they deserve a little bit of flack too. There's actually a problem with them that gets talked about a lot among millennial parents. They don't even want to be involved in their grandchildren's lives. They don't want to take care of their grandchildren. They don't want to live near their grandchildren. And that goes for all socioeconomic status.
Yeah.
They tend to act like that. And
Do you think it's a product
gross.
of just like, okay, so we live in a country where it's like you're kicked out of the house at 18, go, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, take out $8 gazillion in student loans that you're never going to be able to pay back so that you can make your way in the world. And there's a disconnect from family there. That made sense, a little bit of sense back in the day when college was cheaper, life was different, and
Rent was cheaper.
The concept of family was less diluted than it is now. And now what once was making your way in the world has given way to resentment. And you wonder why kids today are angry. Now, again, most of the time when I hear kids say that, I just scoff and say, you're complaining, but you're like, I'm just one of those people. Like, other than when we're doing this show, I'm like, I'm not going to complain about something that, unless there's a fix, I don't get the point. But I get it, but I just don't know if it's necessarily always worth the time that we put into it. But I understand. And that take from the boomers is just really, really sad. It shows that he's disconnected from just what the world is now.
Yeah, it's really kind of rotten to not care about the legacy that you leave in the world and only about yourself.
Yeah.
But that's common among celebrities.
Right, because is he just going to try to spend it all as quickly as possible before the day comes?
Yeah, is
he
that
dies?
the goal? Because there's no way. I mean, and then you brought up, why are you even working then? For in this case, you're still working.
your
You're still
twilight years.
doing commercials. You're doing movies. Why are you even working? Because if
Narcissism.
it's true that he has a net worth of $40 million, he could happily retire now and have more money than he knows what to do with, or that his wife knows what to do with. So he's really just working for his own personal glory and no other reason.
I mean, there's something to be said about just like you don't want to sit still, you want to keep working, but then don't have the kids.
Or do it
You
for
have
free.
an 8-year-old and a 6-year-old. They
Right.
need time.
Yeah.
Like,
What about their college fund? I mean, it's like
he's literally gonna die when they're in their 20s.
And that stuff's not mentioned.
If
Like, I'm
even,
sure these
like,
kids
if
will
that.
have. I'm sure these kids. That's the other thing. There could be trust set up for housing. There could be trust set up for colleges. I assume. When I read these
Who
stories,
knows?
I assume that their college is paid for. They're going to have homes. They're going to have all these things. But it just seems like such disdain to just be like, oh, do it yourself. Well, how about you help them do it themselves before then? It's going to be harder because you're going to be 90 when they're old enough to start careers.
if he makes it that far.
Yeah.
But he could. I mean, he's 71 now. He could die when they're still teenagers, when they're not even adults yet.
Yeah.
Well, the whole thing is just kind of broken. But yeah, I don't understand being smug about it. If that's your choice, that's your choice. But why are you like bragging about it?
The thing is, like, it's always couched in language that makes sense. I'm not going to do it for you, and you're not going to want me to do it for you. There's logic there. There is at least a semblance of logic there, meaning that accomplishing something on your own will always stick better. Meaning that if you go out in the world, you go to college, whatever, you get an MBA, you get into the executive class, and you work your way up through a Fortune 500 company, and you do it without your dad saying, like, put this person in your, like, hire this person. Yes, that will work. Or you go and maybe they go and do a trade and they start building their own world that way. Like, is the idea here that your kids go to school. Maybe one of them doesn't want to be an executive or an actor. Maybe he wants to be an electrician. And he goes and he gets a blue-collar job and he can provide for his family, but it's not going to be the life that he was raised in. The chances of that are minimal, but are you going to then cut him out of an inheritance because what? He made something of himself. He got a job. He's providing for his family. All you're doing is punishing him. At that point, he's proven to you that he has the skills that he needs to pull himself up by the bootstraps. All you're doing is punishing him then.
Right.
And what does Jeff Goldblum know about pulling yourself up from your bootstraps? He's been a famous movie star since like what, the 70s?
I mean, it doesn't mean that he didn't have to work to do what he does. He
I don't
worked.
know his history,
Like,
but
we'll always have Jurassic Park. That's true. That's fine.
Yeah.
Well, and I will always have Independence Day, more importantly. And he's taught millions of people how to stutter as a form of acting. No, go. No. Maybe that's what his kids. Maybe his kids will be vocal coaches just to push back on their dad.
They'll become speech pathologists.
I would love that. If one of his kids ended up being a speech pathologist who stopped people from stuttering, that would be the greatest FU ever.
Then they're definitely not getting an inheritance.
Yeah. I don't know. Just like, I feel like this is one of those things you could ask 10 people and you'll get, depending on the age of the person, their background, you'll get 10 different answers on what the right thing is to do here. But it's also a lot harder to judge it without more information on what any of this actually means. Like, I'm sure that he's not going to make these kids pay for their own college education.
We'll see.
We'll have to. I mean, that would be.
Yeah,
that-
We'll hear
that would
from
be-
Charlie and River 10 years down the line.
Clarification there.
All right. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
We have 2 cringes.
Let's do those first,
Let's
then.
start with the
Oh,
cringe.
can we do like a cringe cute sandwich?
Oh yeah, let's do a cringe cute sandwich. We've never done that before.
All right. Well, we'll start with this one. JoJo Siwa.
Yeah, there's more Judas.
She's really been like pumping out the cringe content lately, huh?
We need the sound on, by the way.
Here we go.
Last one. And then for me.
She really can't stop herself from doing that dance.
And the caption was, "This is what it feels like to drink a Diet Coke." The tongue out pose is the worst, I think.
That editing
The
is
fact that she's wearing a shirt of herself is,
I didn't even notice that.
I mean, yeah.
Who dressed her? Like
Oh,
her PR team
And then for me.
let her down.
that dance move.
Last one.
You can't get over it.
I hate it.
All right, let's look at cute then.
Why does she look like she's going to like she's a member of KISS on a bike race with those pants?
She looks like the Coca-Cola polar bear.
Yes. Okay. Guys, make sure to go over there and submit your cute of the day, please. Hashtag PCC Pets, tag me and the show in there. This is from Stephanie. She says, here's my cat, Sara, having just defeated the Fiend. Oh, yes, pro wrestler, the Fiend, right there.
Oh,
What's its name?
Kira.
Sara.
Sierra?
Sierra? Sierra? Okay. Cute.
Very
Cool
cute.
name.
Very cute
Very
pose.
cute. Let's do one more here. This one is from Beanie Gang. It says, these are my 3 juvenile southern toads named top to bottom Fungus, Wally, and Wirt. The video is my American toad Waddles watching a YouTube video of bugs crawling all over the screen. I hope the toads are easier to see this time. There they are.
Love Toad TV.
There
I
you
think
go.
Wirt is my favorite.
It's a good one.
Waddles
Like
is
fungus.
this one.
Look at him. He's very
He's watching Toad TV.
ribbit.
Cute.
I love it.
Cute.
All right. Thank you guys again. Submit them hashtag PCC Pets to at popculture_show or at Brett Dastovic or both.
And
Helps.
then we have the
Second
More
cringe.
the cringe bun of
love
the
it.
hamburger.
Jesse Lee Peterson. Okay.
This isn't really cringe though. I just thought this was
He
hilarious.
is so good at making people cringe, though.
Okay.
We'll see.
So you declare this not cringe. It's just.
I think it's
you
hilarious.
think it's hilarious. Okay. Here we go.
The homeless people are evil people.
They're very evil.
They're very evil.
Why do you think they became homeless in the first place?
Because they're weak, they're beta.
You know what we need to do, I think? We need to hire a large sector of people to find all of the homeless people, gather them up,
Oh, I don't know if I want to know where this goes.
No.
and start making them do work.
I think they should load up the homeless people and take them out to plant the crops here in California and do things like that.
I think after a couple of months, they will probably enjoy it, and it might sound a little bit extreme, but we shouldn't even pay them.
That's right. Just feed them, but don't pay them. The homeless people.
Jesse Lee
guy
Peterson
needs
comes
to
out
get-
pro-slavery.
This guy needs to get into a like a group chat with that guy who said he'd force medication on Britney Spears and
Oh yeah.
start a movement that everybody will hate.
We love landlords and conservators.
So there's a building over here that's like Matan Properties, and every time I go by it, I go, "We love landlords."
It's actually Matan Evans' property.
That would be amazing if
Yeah.
it was. That would be fantastic. Well, he'd be the landlord of it, I guess.
Yeah.
That'd be fantastic. All right, now that we are we're like 50 minutes into the show. We're 47 minutes into the show, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get started. Mary, why don't you tell everybody about The Rock's diva behavior?
Yeah, rumor has it that The Rock is a nightmare to work with on set after The Wrap published this supposed hit piece about him, claiming that Dwayne Johnson's tardiness led to a $250 million runaway production. They said his good guy persona is being tarnished. He is chronically late to set, showing up 7 to 8 hours late regularly. He missed entire days of production and made a habit of peeing into water bottles to save time, which upset crew members.
So they did not have sources on that one. Here's
I
the
would
thing.
believe it.
What it is he has a video on his Instagram talking about how he does it while he works out.
So we know that he does this
But-
when he works out. It's not entirely a stretch of the imagination. He would do it while he's working.
So I watched the Andy Signore video about this, and apparently the journalist who wrote this, Humberto Gonzalez, just has beef with, like, he writes pieces about The Rock that he clearly doesn't like him, and he further talks about how this guy isn't necessarily the most reliable journalist. He's a scoop stealer.
Well, the same guy, he wrote how Dwayne Johnson kneecapped Black Adam
Correct.
and Shazam 2 while trying to take over DC. So he
Camelot
does
is in the
probably
chat.
have...
Camelot is in the chat
Oh, hi,
saying,
Camelot.
to be fair, pissing in bottles is based.
Is it?
That's what he says.
I think Christopher Nolan doesn't go on bathroom breaks while he's
Correct.
filming, so Christopher Nolan would love The Rock.
Like, let's make a
They should
movie,
work
dude.
together.
Let's make a
Normally
movie.
their genres wouldn't intersect, but I think this is a great opportunity for them.
It would get done so
movie
fast.
Would Chris Nolan make with The Rock?
The thing is,
Could be
if,
incredible.
Doom? No, they should remake Doom.
if The Rock weren't late to set and missing entire days of production,
Yeah.
they wouldn't need to save time at all. He could take
Right.
normal bathroom breaks, but he created this problem for himself.
Maybe he just likes peeing in bottles.
Is he doing it in front of the crew members? Is that why they're upset? Like they have to see his junk every 15 minutes?
Yeah, so we can go
Okay,
through it.
so this says The Rock has nurtured a reputation as a hardworking, muscle-bound action comedy movie star with considerable box office draw power. But Red One, a high-powered Christmas crowd pleaser for Amazon, has turned into a massive budgetary misadventure, casting Johnson's fame and work ethic in a different light. Originally slated for release in 2023 Christmas season, Red One's theatrical release has been delayed to November 2024 due to the last year's labor strikes. But a real story is a lot messier. Production issues ranging from The Rock's chronic lateness and lack of professionalism on set to producers' inexperience caused costs on the movie co-starring Chris Evans and J.K. Simmons to spiral upwards to a final budget of over $250 million. That is insane for a streaming movie.
And but look, there's conflicting statements here. Like when it comes to the bottle thing, they're like, we couldn't find anyone on the set to corroborate this, but they link back to an old post that The Rock made about 14-hour work days. That was people from the ITSE complaining about overwork.
Insiders told The Wrap, they're anonymous inside sources. Insiders told The Wrap that The Rock showed up as much as 8 hours late to set on the movie, forcing the crew to shoot around him on some days. On previous films, he's made a habit of peeing in a water bottle to save time, which upset crew members.
I love the idea that he's 8 hours late but pees in a water bottle at the same time.
One insider who knows The Rock...
Time management. Break.
One insider who knows The Rock said on set, away from his trailer, if he needs to pee, he doesn't go to the public bathroom. He pees in a Voss water bottle, and his team or PA has to dispose of it. He doesn't even dispose of his own piss. He has someone else do it.
Remember we did the scene for there was the video of what's her name putting gum in someone's hand.
Yeah, J-Lo did that. Yeah. Oh, that's disgusting. See, it would be one thing if he were just peeing in water bottles, but he's making his production assistant throw it out for him.
Disgusting.
And why a Voss water bottle?
Always Voss.
Like, aren't you supposed to save those?
I like the idea. What's his liquor brand? Terramana. It's always in a Terramana liquor bottle.
Or he reuses the same Voss bottle over and over again until it's full.
So here's some pushback. It says
it's just getting worse.
In response to the question from the Wrap, two sources close to the production and one close to $7 all insisted that The Rock averaged no more than 1 hour late to the Red One set, as opposed to what they were saying. Sometimes 8 hours late.
Insiders
yes,
said.
and then one source told close to Amazon MGM said that the budget never veered far from the figure that Amazon greenlit for the movie, which was $250 million. It is completely normal for there to be a budget fluctuation within 15% of the target, which is exactly what we experienced. So the people at Amazon seem to be pushing back, but there's two ways you can look at this. Either you believe the inside sources that say that The Rock sucks, and that all of this is just them covering it up, and Amazon is just, doing what you have to do, which is that this movie isn't out yet. We're not going to badmouth this guy who's making a movie. Or you believe the Amazon sources and believe that the inside sources saying he's a problem are the ones lying. Either way, it's he said, she said. Nobody knows.
I'm going to choose to believe that it's all true.
That it's all true.
On a separate movie called Red Notice, it says The Rock and Ryan Reynolds reportedly went through a huge fight because The Rock would be constantly over 5 hours late to set. This says it's led to confrontations with co-stars, most famously Vin Diesel. Ryan Reynolds was so infuriated after waiting 5 hours for Johnson that they had a huge fight, according to insiders. The Rock then stormed off set. The two stars didn't speak for years until they recently patched things up.
What?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He had major problems with Vin Diesel, which is why he was like, there was a lot of problems with that. The whole reason they made the Hobbs and Shaw movie was because him and Vin Diesel, it was a spin-off in the Fast and Furious franchise, is because him and Vin Diesel couldn't get along on set.
Difficult to work with.
Well, he said Ryan Reynolds too.
And well, that was on the movie Red Notice, which by the way is different than Red One.
Yes.
Those are not the same thing.
Yeah. But a spokesperson for Ryan Reynolds did not respond to request for comment, so we really have no idea if that's true.
Yep.
But I think the piss thing is the most egregious.
Well, it feels to me like they're taking
It
the
really
story.
is.
Not gonna let that one
I'm not
go.
gonna let it go. Like, that's gross.
I feel like they're
What's he
taking
gonna do
the story.
next? Like shit in a bucket?
If he's doing it in the gym, so when he goes on these movie sets, he literally has his gym flown in, so that he has his own personal gym on set.
What a diva!
Like in a shipping container.
Yeah,
basically.
like and then reset up at all these movies. I mean, look, to have that dude's physique, you gotta work out a lot.
You can't just use a normal gym for that.
gotta
You
have
have
your
to
own
ship
equipment.
your gym everywhere you go.
Yeah, it's a bit much. Is there like steroids embedded in the gym?
I remember this story that when they were making Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, that Robert Downey Jr. had his entire home like shipped Like his whole of his like condo
How? What?
shipped whole hog.
Like his furniture.
Like they rebuilt it in a.
That's
in
They
another place.
replicated
Yeah.
his condo.
Yeah.
That's diva behavior.
Yeah, that's-
However you put it, it's definitely diva behavior. But a spokesperson for Amazon denied there were any onset issues with Red One or delays caused by The Rock, saying The Rock and $7 have been incredible partners on Red One. Our testing has been very strong. The reaction from CinemaCon speaks for itself, and we couldn't have made it without Dwayne's constant work and support. Any reporting that implies that we got to this point with him showing up 7 to 8 hours late to set is both ridiculous and false. Yeah, well, I'll believe it when I see it. I think that it's like any celebrity who has a reputation for being a good guy, it seems fake to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Planned.
Doesn't matter who it is. I always
Even Keanu Reeves.
Even Keanu Reeves, anyone who is known for being such a good guy, you can't believe that like as if you actually know them.
Well, yeah. You again,
And that just seems like you're overcompensating for something.
there should be
Right.
no. A lot of people would say like there's a reason why The Rock was so successful playing a bad guy in wrestling because that's his actual persona. I don't know. Look, so John Nolte and as well as some other people were basically saying that they believe that this is a response to the fact that The Rock refused to endorse Joe Biden in the upcoming election, and that sounds kind of silly at first, but at the same time, when you're a member of the club, when you're part of the in-group there, what reason is there for them to write a hit piece on you other than political reasons if you're part of the in-group? He's not normally a political person. He did endorse Joe Biden in 2020. Now, what was it, 2 weeks after his whole thing about how he's not endorsing a candidate, is it at
Very
least possible?
interesting.
I find it hard to believe, honestly, and usually like John Nolte never misses. I would never counter signal him, but this take is just a little bit hard to believe for me. He says this is what happens when you dare step off of Hollywood's ideological plantation.
I mean,
it's not even like he said he was voting for Trump or supporting a right-wing candidate or even RFK. He's just choosing not to endorse anyone.
I feel like that in and of itself is enough to piss off a lot of people in Hollywood.
But maybe it's not just that, but it's the fact that the journalist from WAPA, like the dude was just like from the rap was like, and I don't like him,
Mr.
So,
Umberto.
Yeah, doesn't like.
He's
him.
mad that his
like
name
that.
is Umberto and that Dwayne gets to go by The Rock.
If you guys are interested, after this episode, Andy Signor did a video on this where he goes into more detail about his history with that journalist and all this stuff. It's a pretty interesting watch there. Again, Mary, you are right that like holding any celebrity to any level of like
on a pedestal.
yes, is a bad idea.
If you don't want people to ask you about your presidential endorsement as a movie star, then you probably just shouldn't make a habit of making presidential endorsements, which is what he did when he endorsed Biden.
A lot
in
of people were
2020.
very surprised he did that because before he wasn't one to do that.
Before that would hurt your career, but more recently now it helps your career, obviously.
I mean, I don't even know how it helped. Like, how does it help your career? Like,
It doesn't. I mean, there are plenty of stars out there who are never asked about their presidential endorsements. The Rock is one of them because he made a habit of doing so.
also, there's just too many that are willing to do that. Like, am I really supposed to believe that in the sea of actors, all of which we know are left leaning, that your endorsement is supposed to get you curry favor? Maybe behind the scenes, I guess.
It
but
may
I don't
not
know.
even be to gain favor, but it may be to not have hit pieces written about you like this. Because, I mean, I don't know if there's been other times where The Rock has been accused of being an a-hole or being a diva.
The stuff, okay, so the last time that The Rock was really cast in a very negative light was the stuff after Maui with Oprah and
Oh, yeah, we talked.
and
I
the
was hearing you
charity.
guys,
Oh, right. I don't understand why.
Because they matched funds to start this charity, and then people were like, why are you asking for the public to donate money when you're worth hundreds of millions of dollars?
I mean, I thought it was because of the theory that Oprah was trying to clear land.
Yeah, I
that she
mean-
was planning to buy the land that was destroyed by the wildfires.
I don't know how mainstream that theory was.
And the theory that it was space lasers that ignited the fire. But this says, coming from a bona fide box office superstar, that kind of apostasy cannot be allowed. The Rock hurt Joe Biden, and an example must be made of him. So after 2 decades of The Rock being a media darling, enter the McCarthyites of the far left at the Wrap. I mean, it's just only a political junkie would read it this way.
I do think that there's something to the argument that like when asked that question and not simply saying no, even saying no comment, that no endorsement is an endorsement of sorts when you're expected to give one specific, like if they went to Taylor Swift today and said, who do you endorse for for the presidency? He said, I'm going to keep it between me and the voting booth. Like that would be seen as a slight. Even if she's not technically slighting, even if she is going to vote for him, by not publicly saying so, they will view it as a slight.
But the media hasn't turned against Taylor Swift for not endorsing Biden.
But she hasn't been asked that question and given a response where she says, but she hasn't said, I'm not saying.
Like in the interview she did for Time Person of the Year.
What did she say?
They did mention that she has refrained from endorsing.
Was there a comment of her saying that, or did they simply say that she's refraining? Was there an actual quote of her saying that?
I'm not sure.
I don't think there was a
She's
quote
just posted
of her.
on her Instagram about voter registration.
It would have been a bigger deal, especially even on right-wing Twitter, if she said, I'm refraining from picking a candidate. Because the idea of her endorsing...
But you open yourself up to the question by endorsing him the previous cycle. Therefore, it's your fault, in my opinion. Because it's not your place.
For sure.
And they're preaching from a pulpit when they do that, and I don't like it. So really...
And I'm like, looking at The Rock, I'm like, are you really voting for Joe Biden?
Yeah.
Are you even?
And let's face it, a $250 million Amazon movie. That's a more interesting point here. Like, how are you going to make your money back on a $250 million Amazon movie? You can't even sell your rights because it's for your platform, right? It's not going to theaters. It's not going to make its money back any other way.
Money laundering.
Feels like that sometimes. At least I cynically feel that way most of the time, that a lot of it feels like money laundering. Or just people who are really bad at their job and don't know how to produce.
Yep.
Whose side would you take in the Vin Diesel and The Rock fight? Who do you think is to blame?
I mean, if we're basing it solely on that franchise, I mean, more movies got made with less problems with Vin Diesel. Right?
Yeah.
So clearly
Track record.
There was that video of like him and Vin Diesel and Justin Lin, like, and he looked like he was held hostage by him.
He was making this really
He's like, hey man, we're on the first day of Fast X, and the guy just looked miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was trying to force him to be part of the moment.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel has a lot of hilarious videos like that.
Plus we have the video of Vin Diesel like from the Triple X interview with that journalist where he's like, you're so
sexually
beautiful.
harassing her basically.
You're so beautiful. Like he was clearly just...
He said, do you want to get out of here? He literally said, do you want to get out of here? Like,
yes.
So they both have their issues.
We'll never know, but I do know that anybody who watched pro wrestling understands what the thumbnail means. The WWE used to have a division called the Divas division. It's what they called their women's wrestling division back when it was far more misogynist. And so they would be the Divas champion. And since people call him the People's champion, I say he is now the Divas champion.
You remember the way people reacted to our video just a couple weeks ago about Johnny Depp being accused of the same stuff, being late to set, being difficult to work with, trying to change the script? All of those things, I am very willing to believe Johnny Depp has done those things.
As far as I'm concerned...
Has Johnny Depp earned it, though, a little?
The Rock has earned it, too. I mean, The Rock has earned his...
You could say that about anyone. I don't think you can earn the right to be an a-hole.
I just see it as classic Hollywood. If you go there and you're going to be an actor, you expect that lead guy to be unapproachable, rude, and no green M&Ms in my thing.
Assume the worst.
Assume the worst, and
that's
you'll always
the
be
best
fine.
I mean,
course
you
of
don't
action.
get that big by being just like a nice, homely, down-to-earth person.
Now, okay,
But he doesn't seem like he's very business smart either. Like the way that he
The Rock
was dealing with DC and trying to become a creative lead at DC.
I mean, I think he might have just been out of his depth.
He's
there.
not the box office draw that for some reason he thinks he is.
He's still what you think of when you think of, like, if you were to ask people, like, who's a movie star of today, I bet you he's in the first.
But look at the proof,
sure.
though.
Yeah.
Like, not in reality.
I'm not saying actual box office draw. I'm just saying, like, who does Hollywood think of as a box office
Sure,
draw?
I guess.
It's Tom Cruise, Ryan Reynolds, Ryan Gosling, The Rock, and
Even Tom Cruise kind of underperformed with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning. So,
Yep. So it's interesting.
but no, it's the fans' fault. It's the fans' fault if a movie underperforms.
Now, if this had been like a sudden Me Too story out of nowhere, maybe I would have seen that as more of a political hit job.
Yeah, but The Rock is an asexual himbo, so that would never happen.
He's married with he's got kids. He's got, he's got several kids.
So he's known as that
Yes.
way. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's read super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, "Happy Woman Wednesday, Brett, Mary, and Sarah. People can give money to whomever they wish. I allot cash for church, Catholic charities, and of course, family and friends. That includes you, friends. Thank you.
And guys, let's get a crisis party. We're about halfway there.
Hey, what's going on? I'm freezing to death out here.
She's like,
to
freezing
be
to death
here.
for no crisis party? Let's go. Somebody give her a crisis party so she doesn't freeze to death.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Caving a box spring. He really is Brett Fatsovic." It's not about the
Dang.
weight, though. It's literally just that you're violently throwing yourself against
Centrifugal
furniture.
force of you hurling yourself across the room.
Anytime I post a picture of food, I hashtag Brett Fatsovic.
You should have like a diving board in here where you dive down into your chair.
That's such a good, like, actually, that's how every episode starts. It's like live from the PCC studios.
You just injure
It's
yourself
Brett
every time.
Perry. And it cuts to me just going, woo.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
This is why we need the dunk tank.
Yep.
It would just, all of the water would empty after you dunk it.
And the computer will explode and start on fire.
High Voltage 75 said, So what's the story on your silver play button? YouTube holding out on you?
What?
Yep, still no silver play button.
We're getting
We're gonna have to ask
censored,
Tim
silenced.
we're gonna have to ask Tim to use his clout.
We're getting
Yeah,
oppressed.
YouTube is punching down upon you too.
I think we probably actually do need Tim to tweet about it for us to actually get it, because
Dad.
it's supposed to have been in our dashboard for at least a month now, right?
Probably yeah.
Overdue by a month.
All right, let's hold off on the rest and come back after the fact, guys. Get Sarah's freezing. Get her a crisis party, will you?
Please.
She deserves it.
She doesn't. See, look at that face. She's very sad.
She's sad.
All right, Mary, what the hell is going on with AI propaganda?
There's a new movie coming out from Netflix that is getting accused of spreading pro-AI propaganda, which is, in Dane speak, propaganda. And that is a heresy in Hollywood, because if you're pro-AI, you are pro-big studio. It benefits big studios to use AI and cut out below-the-line workers or even stars. And in this trailer, Jennifer Lopez literally says the line, "I won't trust any AI."
I can't actually explain to you guys like, you think my jumping into this chair is violent? The violent cringe reaction that I had to this line was not unlike somebody having an epileptic seizure.
Well, let's take a look
watch
at the
this
trailer and
trailer.
see if it's as bad as you think it is.
Here we go, guys. Let us know what you think. Hold on. First of all, there we go. Buttons are going slow.
Good morning, Atlas. Time to wake up.
I'm awake.
Why is she sleeping? I'm sorry. Why is she sleeping with glasses on?
It's the future.
What was that sound?
Everyone
she
sleeps
made?
with
I'm sorry. We'll start
goggles
over.
on in the
I'm sorry.
future.
I had a moment there. You don't fall asleep with your glasses on.
Good morning, Atlas. Time to wake up.
I'm awake.
Agent Atlas Shepard has spent years of her life hunting the artificial intelligence known as Harlan. Originally engineered to advance humanity, he instead nearly ended it.
If you really want to try to capture Harlan, you need me on that mission.
Mayday! We are under attack!
What do I do?
Stop it!
Oh my God.
Okay, this is out of control.
This planet is unstable and inhospitable.
Atlas, my name is Smith.
Is that really necessary? You're a computer program.
I'm driving through LA out in raw snow. No, I'm not.
No? What are you then?
I am a computer program named Smith.
No one likes a smartass, Smith. We don't have much time. Harlan's planning an attack.
Atlas, my primary protocol is to keep you alive.
Same. I don't need your help. I don't trust any AI.
I don't need no man.
Smith!
Okay, this is out of control. Atlas, this won't work if you don't trust me.
Okay. Let's do this.
Everything I know about it.
This is what it feels like to be you.
This is what it feels like to be us.
It's beautiful.
Don't worry. We are simply the better versions of you.
if we don't stop Harlem. All life on Earth is doomed.
Everything I know about it. Shit.
You're in my head, and the only thing you learn how to do is curse?
I'm an adaptive learner.
Okay, let's go, bitch.
That's aggressively stupid.
I want to point out something, that there are exactly two types of trailers that you can make. It's the SoundCloud, Spotify rapper trailer with like a Kid Cudi or Kanye-esque song, or the haunting 80s remix song. And those are the only two types of trailers you're allowed to cut in Hollywood. Also, whoever's voicing Smith, it's literally like they just got a guy who dropped out of like voiceover school, who dropped out of voice trailer actor school and just dropped his audio in there.
Well, is the AI supposed to sound really cool and Chad?
Yes, it should sound cool.
Or metrosexual?
It should sound cool.
I don't know. I've never heard of Chad.
I don't want the good guys to be represented by dorks.
Okay.
I want the good guys to be
We got a $20 super chat from Dylan Selking. He said, I'm joining in about an hour late because of a 3:00 meeting. Hope this has been a great show so far.
Well, thank you.
We certainly hope it is.
The only thing that was mildly cool were like the mech suits. Had like a cool concept there that doesn't look like it's going to be executed well in the film. It seemed like maybe Simu Liu is kind of designed to be a bad guy, and maybe they should have focused more on him.
Well, people naturally don't like Simu Liu, so that works. But
we don't know what the movie is about or the plot of it based on that trailer.
So the issue here is that it's the concept is a good AI versus a bad AI. The Smith AI is very clearly supposed to be the good guy, and the Harlan AI that's portrayed by Simu Liu is the evil one, which is why he says we're simply the better versions of yourselves. Now, not to talk about the show again, but Person of Interest did this back in 2016, where they had the Machine versus Samaritan, which was the concept of a machine born with no human ethics, that was taught no human ethics and simply was coding that turned into artificial intelligence, and one that was taught human ethics from a good person, which grew to be an actual friend to humanity. And it did it far better than this looks like it's going to. Granted, it's vastly different forms of storytelling. But back to your point, you can't make a movie like this because the people in Hollywood, the people who read discussing films at the comments sections, aren't going to support this.
Right, yeah. At least the reviews are not going to be charitable to that nuanced point. But I think it's just because Jennifer Lopez doesn't make sense in a sci-fi action movie. Put her back in the rom-coms.
Yeah.
I can't take it seriously.
Also, she never wore glasses again after falling asleep in glasses. She then lives the rest of her life without glasses on, which is kind of shocking to me.
She only sleeps in glasses.
She only sleeps
No, in the
glasses.
future, you sleep with glasses. You wouldn't get it. You're not in the future.
It's like a gender swapped her. That's what it made me think of.
Is it? Yeah, she's like an independent girl boss who don't need no AI, and then she learns to trust the AI. It's really a romance story.
The minute she's in trouble, she's like, come back. Where are you?
They should have gotten somebody even more off the mark. They should have gotten Joey King to play this role. I'm kidding. I'm saying, like, get somebody who makes even less sense than J-Lo for this role. But the problem is, we all know who would actually fit for this role. A dude. But they're not going to make this movie with a dude.
Yeah, like have a bromance between a human dude and an AI dude.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I mean.
No,
like
you get a female AI. You have the good
Female
one.
AI.
You get the good guy portrayed by with the female AI, similar to what they do in Marvel with Karen Gillan doing the voice.
Does he fall in love with it?
No.
Okay.
But the point is you get, somebody says Matt Damon. Get Matt Damon to do this role, like The Martian.
Well, it's a Netflix movie.
They can't
so
afford him.
No, it's not going to happen.
He's too busy making the weird art house movies with Ben Affleck right now.
But we recently talked about the fact that Netflix has an algorithm which they use to test potential projects for success. Instead of screen testing with a human audience, they're using an algorithm to decide whether they greenlight a script. And just coincidentally, Emily Blunt commented in a new interview saying, she says, algorithms frustrate me. I hate that effing word. How can it be associated with art and content? How can we let it determine what will be successful and what will not? I was in a 3-hour film about a physicist, which had the impact it had. The algorithms probably wouldn't have grasped it. My hope is that Oppenheimer and similar projects are not considered anomalies, that we stop translating creative experience into diagrams.
Depends on whether your algorithm can weigh the benefits of having a director like Christopher Nolan, and saying a physicist is an inherently flawed argument because he's not a physicist. He's Oppenheimer, which is not the same thing. It's not random physicist number 2. It's a famous person in history made by one of the most prolific directors working today.
Carnell said, J-Lo in scene, you need me for this mission. J-Lo in the next scene, what do I do? Well, I think that's supposed to be a punchline, right?
What that means is she's good at selling herself. She's just like not good at actually finishing the job. What it is, though, is like, look, there has been an eternal struggle as long as cinema has existed between the guys financing and the creatives, right? Obviously, it's much more advanced now in the age of corporate umbrellas and the purchase of IP and all of this stuff. And the bean counters are always going to look for analytical tools to figure out. Now, I was just reading that article today from Heather Graham where she talked about she learned more about this stuff once she started producing movies, that there is inherent value and worth ascribed to genders in Hollywood. Whether she believes that that's right or not, that is just a fact. It's the way it is in Hollywood. And the people who are doling out the money for this stuff are always going to be looking for numbers to help justify why you give this amount of money to make this, why you give this amount of money to make that. You're going to give Christopher Nolan $100 million to make Oppenheimer. You're not necessarily going to do that for Olivia Wilde if she wants to make one about Roberta J. Oppenheimer or something. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she's on her, second chance now as a director?
because Christopher Nolan has a proven track record, but they're always going to be looking for statistics and run algorithms. That's just the way these industries are going to advance, because they need to be able to put on paper a reason why this is given this amount, why this is given this amount. All it seems to me is just a way for them to justify what they spend.
Well, I don't know if the human executives would make any better decisions than an algorithm could. And that's the presupposition that Emily Blunt is operating on, that Hollywood executives, the human ones, are making good decisions that should be made. And for the vast majority of the time, that's not true.
Back in the day, I always saw it as this. It's like the money guys, which I always assumed were more conservative in nature and perhaps more connected with the idea that this can't just be for this small group, this has to be for everyone. We're there with the their hands on the purse strings to say that's not a good idea. And then, they can rein in the creatives who may not have that inclination and get caught up in the work. But now they all are of the same belief system, so it doesn't matter.
Not necessarily the belief system. I think that the money guys just decided, as long as it has an IP name attached to it, it's a green light.
Well, that's
what they've decided to do.
And that's why I laugh when people say there's no new content. I'm like, there's new stuff all the time. It's just all on streaming and gets no attention because they don't run marketing campaigns.
Like Atlas?
No,
this movie on streaming, which sucks.
I'm speaking more of shows.
I'm making an assumption about the movie.
And even then, it's still a new property. I mean, I'm assuming it's a new property.
It is, yeah.
I mean, it's a ripoff of a bunch of different types of movies, but it's still something technically new. But would Atlas go to theaters? I don't think so.
No. Even with J-Lo in it?
No, especially.
Put her in a rom-com if it's going to theaters, but she doesn't make sense in this genre or in this context at all. I don't get it.
I find the whole concept really, really interesting because we talked about Late Night with the Devil, where they got very mad about AI. Literally 3 tiny images that appeared on screen for less than a second.
It's the artists who have an objection to that. The audiences do not care.
Correct. And you could
or
say... Or
you have a morbid curiosity to see AI content.
We talk a fair amount about the idea of predictive programming. Perhaps what Amazon or what Netflix is doing is they want to program you to think positively of AI. Maybe that's what this is about.
Do you think that's really the intention behind this?
Do I really believe that these companies are doing that? In this case, no. I don't think that that's what this is. I think that they said cool mech suits, explosions, people like Jennifer Lopez, right? And
she's still hot.
Or she had a contract with them because she did The Mother, and she's like,
right.
I get to do this many movies with you. Maybe Ben Affleck is producing it or something like that.
Maybe.
I doubt it. But, I don't think he would sign
It's crazy
off.
because Ben Affleck has done some great movies, and J-Lo just kind of always swing and a miss.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any J-Lo movies off the top of my head that I really, really like.
Not the greatest love story never told?
No.
You didn't like that?
I don't even know which ones I've ever even seen. Like I said, just the other
Wedding
day,
Planner.
I
Made in
don't think
Manhattan.
I don't see those. That's her niche.
her thing.
Yeah,
that's her niche
exactly.
right there.
Why
That's
are they
her-
inserting her into a movie like this? I don't get it.
Selena.
again?
Selena also great. That was a great movie,
It's like
and she acted very
1995,
well
right?
in it. Otherwise, she's just cheesy outside of that genre.
Oh, also
just cheesy to me.
you sent me this AI generated version of The Simpsons.
Yes, you guys have to
set
see
in
this.
the 1950s.
These are like my new favorite thing to look at on the internet. You guys
It's
have to watch
creepy.
this. It is.
Brett loves AI.
Welcome to
He's
Springfield,
an AI
where the
stan.
jokes are as abundant as the donuts and the residents are as quirky as they come. Meet Homer Simpson, the lovable but bumbling head of the Simpson family.
He's not fat enough, though.
By his side is Marge, his patient and kind-hearted wife,
looks insane.
who holds the family together. Their children include Bart, who is always stirring up chaos, while Lisa, the middle child,
That is creepy.
Yeah.
Lisa.
She looks like Jean-Benet Ramsey, like low-key.
Oh, but about to
Lisa
murder
looks
you.
like she skinned a cat or two in her life. And like Bart looks like he gets up to harmless pranks. Lisa looks
Yeah.
like she skinned a cat or two.
She plays with
intelligence
roadkill.
and compassion. And there's Maggie, the adorable baby.
Cute AI baby.
From exploring the enigmatic mysteries
Terrifying.
of the town's wealthiest resident, Mr. Burns, to navigating the vibrant atmosphere of Moe's Tavern, every moment is a unique experience. Also part of this vibrant ensemble is Ned Flanders, the friendly neighbor whose unwavering optimism never fails to brighten the day. Followed by Krusty the Clown, the eccentric entertainer who's always
Ew,
ready to
ew,
play.
ew, ew.
And let's not forget
Okay,
Milhouse,
that's literally
Bart,
Paul
loyal
from Wonder
and
Years.
nerdy best friend. Explore the wacky world of Springfield, a town where the laughter is infectious, and the residents are always ready to welcome you with open arms.
Why is the narration that AI
Yeah.
generates always in the same cadence?
Yeah.
Like every moment is a unique experience.
I never noticed that. That is very creepy, though.
Yeah. Weird.
I'm not a
Don't
fan
like it.
of that.
They could make an AI Simpsons horror movie. How about that?
Yeah, that they could do that. That'd be great.
There's still a lot of work to be done on these technologies, clearly.
Do you think that this is the type of subject matter that the public's going to be more open to, or do you think that the general sentiment's like we got like 30 years of like AI is going to be evil, so I don't think they're going to change the perspective on that anytime soon.
In Hollywood,
Yeah.
that's not going to change. But I think the sentiment among the audiences or potential audiences is that they want to see AI content.
Yeah.
Definitely. But the novelty will wear off eventually.
Probably. I guess with all things like there's an AI function on like Instagram now that is like shoved into like the search function that's absolutely awful.
What is it?
Like I have no idea how.
Oh, I think it lets you AI generate things.
And I don't want it to do that. I'm like
for
trying to do regular
your
searches.
Instagram story. Like it generates images that you can put on your Instagram story for some reason.
It's very dumb.
Yeah.
They're like plugging it into everything so that its algorithm can just grow and be perfected.
Mr. Anderson said no Troy McClure unsubscribed. Wait, what? What does that mean?
It's a Simpsons reference, right?
Is it? I don't know. I don't watch The Simpsons.
I haven't watched Simpsons in many, many, many years. And plus, I noticed that they did Apu in there.
But they didn't give him a shout out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, they should have gotten a shout out there. There's also like there was these images going around, like these AI generated images of like Simpsons things predicting the future that were like predicting like deaths that were all fake. But since everybody hears the stories about how the Simpsons predicts the future,
Who predicted more catastrophes, The Simpsons or Alex Jones?
Alex Jones.
Who wins? Oh, did we not have our crisis meter working again?
No, it is. It's working.
Did you set it off?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're off.
Thank you.
There you go.
Yay.
Yep.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Does that mean the AC is gonna turn off?
No, no.
Please,
the
sir,
dancing. The
temporarily.
dancing was supposed to warm you up, but you didn't dance, so I can't do all the work here, guys.
All right. Fine.
All right, let's go to Super Jets.
New guy, don't haze me, said, been listening to you all for a little bit now, but this is my first chat interaction. Congrats on 600 episodes. Here's to 1,000, 5,000, 10,000.
Okay,
that's a little bit
First
scary.
of all, bro, thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
But also,
10,000 episodes of
bro.
PCC.
1,000, I'm good.
Just on your deathbed.
Even 5,000, I'm Captain America. Like, I could do this all day. By 10,000, I think you guys would just be sick of me, or really all of us. But maybe not you, Mary, but the rest of us, I think that they'd be sick of us by then. No?
If you had to place your bets,
Yeah.
how many episodes are we going to get? Let us know. Sound off.
Before everybody's just sick to death of us. Like, could you guys just wrap this up?
Before you're
already?
done barely tolerating us.
Could you guys go up to the big podcast in the sky? Like, dude, seriously.
Big podcast mic in the sky. Colton Coldrick said, Mary has such thorough vocabulary. I'm always learning new words from her.
Well, I wonder what word it was that sparked that one.
I don't think that I usually use dictionary words on the show, but thank you. Pat the Plumber said, Pi Kappa Phi USA USA USA.
Was you seeing that today on Twitter when I was talking about it? Was that the first time you had seen that stuff? Yeah, the boys from the fraternity who hoisted up the American flag and protected it on
while getting pelted with eggs
at Columbia, then started a GoFundMe for $15,000 to throw themselves a rager, to which I said, let's freaking go. It's very...
I'm not going to donate. Sorry.
But
I'm not going to donate, but other people should.
Yeah, it was good.
Hiroshima Otaru said, depends on how the kids are personality-wise. I guess that's an answer to the poll.
Let's hold off on the rest and let's come back after the fact.
All right.
Let's go ahead and let's talk about what's going on with Russell Brand.
Mm-hmm. Russell Brand is currently going through a public conversion to Christianity, or so it seems, and it's confusing a lot of people, including myself. He announced that he was going to get baptized in the River Thames just last week. He said, baptism, this Sunday, I'm taking the plunge. So I guess we should hear out his explanation for why he's deciding to do this.
Correct. All right.
Let's hear it from him. He's like crouching on the ground outside.
I don't know why he felt
he
he
never
had to
sits
sit
in a
that
chair.
way, but that's okay.
grounding.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Die and be reborn. This Sunday, I'm taking the plunge. I'm getting baptized. At the moment, I'm very curious as to what you who have been baptized feel about it, what your expectations are of the event prior, and what it's actually like. What's been explained to me is it's an opportunity to die and be reborn, an opportunity to leave the past behind and be reborn in Christ's name, like it says in Galatians, that you can live as an enlightened and awakened person. Sometimes I think of non-Christian perspectives on it, like Marcus Aurelius saying, you are already dead, now live the rest of your life properly. Or the Buddhist saying, put down the corpse. All of these things seem so inviting and beautiful. I know a lot of people are sort of cynical about the increasing interest in Christianity and the return to God, but to me it's obvious. As meaning deteriorates in the modern world, as our value systems and institutions crumble, all of us become increasingly aware that there is this eerily familiar, awakening and beckoning figure that we've all known all of our lives within us and around us. And for me it's very exciting. One of my concerns is I'm thinking about doing it in the River Thames, so I could be getting sort of baptised in toxoplasmosis and E. coli based on what I've learned.
Not the best decision.
So I may be leaving behind the sins, but I might be picking up some pretty serious viruses. Let me know what you guys think about it and how you feel about it. Thanks.
Thoughts?
It was a perplexing video. What are your first impressions, Sarah?
So I think he misunderstands what baptism is, because he was kind of saying like, oh, I'm gonna die and come back and yada yada.
Enlightenment.
Right, enlightenment and all this stuff from
Maybe
the
I missed
baptism.
it. Did I hear a single mention of Jesus in the video? Like, was there any mention of Jesus?
Sounded very new age to me.
I didn't. Maybe I missed it, but I did not hear a singular mention of Jesus in that video.
Yeah, I don't think that he did. He mentioned Jesus, and that's like what baptism, like a big part of it, right? Is that you proclaim that you believe Jesus died for your sins and was resurrected, and that Jesus is king. That's part of what goes into it, not necessarily thinking that
Can't say Christ is king now.
Right, sure. It's problematic.
Is it? Okay. Well,
It's
keep
to
saying
some-
it.
to some
people. But I think that he has a common misconception that once you're baptized, you're like absolved of your sins and you're considered a Christian after that, which is not what being baptized is. It's a public proclamation of your faith.
Okay,
right?
It's interesting that you say that, because as a Catholic, we actually do believe that it absolves sins. This is the thing.
Okay.
When some celebrity or public figure posts about religion, it's gonna start a religious debate, because there's not even a unanimous agreement among Christians.
They're saying in the chat that he said Christ.
Yeah, I think there was one mention of Christ, but it was among a lot of different ideas that aren't related. So not even Christians have a consensus on, because they're in a bunch of different denominations on what baptism is or means.
Yeah.
And that's why it's going to be confusing no matter what if he's asking for people's opinions. And that's probably why he's gotten a flawed explanation of what baptism means in the first place. So, but yeah, as Catholics, we believe that baptism is a sacrament. It actually is an infusion of grace, and you are, after baptism, part of the mystical body of Christ. I believe that Protestants maintain it's merely symbolic of your faith, like it's a proclamation of faith, as you said.
Yeah.
But that's, exactly the point, right? Is that this is confusing for someone who's new to it. And I think it's right to grant him some leeway and some grace there for not understanding it yet, if he is truly earnestly seeking an understanding of what he's doing, right?
You know what I want to know?
But maybe have an understanding of what you're doing before you do it.
You know what I want to know? I want to know if he dyes his beard. Because it's
You're
too
suspicious
uniform.
of the beard.
Look, the gray is like perfectly done.
I think you're just jelly.
I am kind of jealous. So it's like perfectly gray here, and then down in the middle.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I like
seems
it.
like he invests time in his self-grooming.
It's like it takes a lot of time to look that perfectly unkempt.
Yes.
He
embodies that.
I like it.
He also said, I understand the cynicism around a renewed interest in religion.
Yes.
And I wouldn't say I have a cynicism about it, but a skepticism for every individual case that comes up, right? Like case by case basis. And that's what you probably should have, right? Like with Nala, I still have and did have skepticism about her intentions, or whether she was earnest in what she was saying, and I still have no idea because I don't know this girl.
I imagine that one of the first things that somebody who decides to make a decision like Nala makes, or like Russell Brand makes, is that you have to get comfortable early on with the fact that not everyone is going to take what you're saying at face value. It has to be about your journey, not how your journey is perceived by others.
You shouldn't do it for validation anyway, regardless. But I saw this interesting response here from an account called Donnie Darkened, and he actually visited Timcast a while back. They did an episode of Culture War about the theory that Trump is the Antichrist. He has a lot of interesting takes about these things.
Episode.
But he said, pay close attention to what Russell Brand is really saying. He's not choosing baptism because he sees Jesus as the only begotten Son of God or the exclusive path to salvation. He views Jesus as just one possible way among many. But baptism isn't about seeking enlightenment or indulging spiritual curiosity or one of many ways to be reborn. It's a profound declaration of dying to oneself, confessing your inherent sinfulness, repenting before the Lord, and committing to Jesus as the sole source of life, not merely as one option among many. We need to be vigilant in guarding against those who try to dilute or undermine our faith with subtle forms of occultism. And a lot of people gave him backlash for even saying this because, they're worried that this could drive away someone who is just innocently curious about the faith, which is probably true in some cases. But then the next day, unfortunately, Russell Brand posted a video where he was using tarot cards and interpreting a tarot card. He wasn't necessarily promoting them, but it's something that is definitely forbidden for Christians to do. Divination, astrology, witchcraft of all kinds. Tarot cards is included in that. And I don't even know if he professes to be a Christian. I still haven't heard the words.
Astrology is? Sorry, Sarah. No more astrology.
I still haven't heard exactly the words from his mouth, I am now a Christian, right? So I don't know if he is really even claiming that as an identity. But it's something that a lot of people saw and immediately called him a fake Christian. They called him a fraud and all of these things. But like I said in my response, someone probably told him that baptism is a spiritual thing you do for fun, like ayahuasca. Like that seems to be his perspective. It's just like one of those things you do that's like spiritual and stuff. And that's the new age mindset.
That
about
makes
these
a lot
things.
more sense.
But I don't know. I'm just saying, like, that's a possibility. It sounds like he said, someone explained to me that this is a way to be reborn, or it's a symbol of something, or it's enlightenment.
I mean, maybe there's
whatever.
like a tone of wonder and innocence behind what he's doing, where it's
hard to hate it.
You're like, no, Russell. You can't do that.
No, Russell.
And not even like a patronizing way, just in maybe it's because he's a good actor.
Maybe.
He is like, if you watch his channel, you understand why he is as successful as he is. He's engaging. He draws you into his conversations. He brings out that energy the energy he puts out in the world, he brings back in tenfold from his fans. And what it is like somebody who earnestly can put that into the world. It's like it's harder to dislike them or to tell them you're wrong and you suck rather than to say you're wrong, here's how you do it instead. Right?
Especially because you're hearing in this case, you're hearing thousands of different responses from different types of Christians or different religions who are all telling that you're doing it wrong. And you're also going to hear that if you're doing it the right way. Yeah, so again, it's kind of impossible to navigate if you're looking for responses online.
Outside looking in, like I still see plenty of, as annoying as people are on all sides of the political spectrum, like I still see plenty of people online who argue about religion in a way that does turn people off and would turn me off. I would never, that's just my personal view. Like the last thing I would want to do is to share my faith online just to have a bunch of people that I'm never going to meet in the real world tell me that you're wrong and you're going to hell because F off. I don't give a crap. Like, do you know what I'm saying?
They make religious debates into a pissing contest, and it's all about your ego being wrapped up in it.
It's a purity test all the time.
Purity spiraling and stuff in the matters that don't matter. Like, the same thing happened when Candace Owens recently posted about becoming a confirmed Catholic, and immediately all of these Protestant Christians are responding saying, "No, you're doing it wrong. No, this is demonic. This, that." Like, can you just like chill? Because if someone is really in a deep error, then responding like that is not going to reach them.
Those people are kind of like the embodiment of, do you remember like that famous wife, that mom from Wife Swap who's like screaming like, they are not Christian?
Yes, I do.
Like,
I remember that.
She looks demonic as she says it. It's that's how you're gonna come off no matter what. If you are telling someone that their path is incorrect or they're not doing it good enough or well enough or the quote unquote right way, as though a stranger can decipher someone else's relationship between them and God better than they themselves can.
It's just funny because it's like we were talking the other day about pop culture debates, like debating like whether this movie is better than this one, or like this is how you do this the right way, or this. It's like that's fun. The idea of doing it based on something like your faith, to me, like the way people argue about faith online, just seems kind of soul crushing to me.
It is.
Also, like it's like every religion has their own quote unquote book, like rule book, if you will. You know, they have a book and it lays out the path. Obviously it's open to interpretation, but at the end of the day, it's arguing something that you could just argue to the end of time and eternity.
Yeah, like we would have reached a consensus by now. If there, I mean, I'm not saying that truth doesn't exist. I'm saying that we're flawed and we're not capable of reasoning purely without emotions involved and misinformation and misinterpretations.
Totally. And like, you should always have conversations about it. But once you start to tell people how to live their lives or decide that you're right and someone else is wrong, that's when you've kind of lost the path.
I think people were just trying to say, like, within the bounds of Christianity, as a professing Christian, you are forbidden by scripture from using tarot cards. Like, that's pretty unambiguous. But even then, you'll have Christians in the reply saying, well, actually, if you interpret it this way, like there's really no way to win for him. But
Right.
he seems to be remaining in spirits.
Yeah,
and
dude, maybe he hasn't made it to that part yet.
I don't know.
Cut him some slack.
He seems to be earnestly seeking understanding here. And he posted this video after getting baptized that I wanted to show.
Yep. Got it here.
He's like responding to some of the criticisms here.
Here.
Yesterday, I got baptized, and it was an incredible, profound experience. And many of you will have had your own experiences of baptism and will therefore know what I'm talking about. Many aspects of it were very intimate and personal. The truth is this: as a person that has in the past taken many, many substances and always been disappointed with their inability to deliver the kind of tranquility and peace and even transcendence that I always felt I've been looking for, something occurred in the process of baptism that was incredible, overwhelming, literally overwhelming, because I was obviously underwater and it was the River Thames at some points. So I felt changed, transitioned. Now, of course, even though it's been less than 24 hours, in the interim period, I've already felt like sort of irritation. I've got 3 children, I've got a job, I've got challenges, I still live in the world, but I feel as if some new resource within me has switched on. So many of your comments have been so beautiful and encouraging, and I really appreciate it. And also even the cynicism, I understand, because some people will just see me as a celebrity, but I don't see me as a celebrity, because I was me when I was a little boy, I was me when I was a junkie, I was me when I was poor. I've been me in all of the different phases. But I recognise that anything in this terrain, in the sort of social media world, could be exploited and utilised. For me, I've made the decision. And I know what the decision is. I've made it for myself, and I pray that it will be relevant to my family, in particular my children. My wife's Catholic, you know, she's already made her own choices in this life, including this one. This is new for me. I'm learning, and I will make mistakes. But this is my path now. And I already feel incredibly blessed, relieved, nourished, held. It's been an incredible experience. I wish I could tell you exactly about it, because there were amazing individuals involved. There were incredible and bizarre incidents that took place that felt serendipitous and laden. You know, I do a show every day. I'll be talking about this stuff in the show because it's part of my mission and it's part of my ministry and it's part of my service. This is new to me and it's a joy to me. And I know that I'm not expected to be perfect, and I know that that's not something I'll be able to deliver. Those of you that have embraced me, I'm so grateful. I can't tell you how happy I feel and how relieved I feel. But as you know, if you know, my resources are coming from somewhere else and someone else now. Thank you so much for your support. Let's keep doing this together, or certainly I'm just going to do what I'm doing. I love you so much. I'm so grateful to be surrendered in Christ. See you all soon. I'm doing the show a little later. Come watch that if you want to.
He's very hard to dislike.
You were making faces.
Oh,
What's
because
that?
he used the word nourish. I hate the word nourish.
Oh, is that it?
Dorky people who say who come when they talk about seed oils, talk about nourishing food, and it just makes me want to throw my phone.
Mm-hmm.
Complete aside. He's very hard to dislike.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic performer. He's a fantastic orator. He's fantastic at engaging with his audience in a way. I guess if I was to take the cynical approach here, I'd say that when something is new, the same thing happens when you're new in sobriety. There's actually a sort of a high that you get from being new in sobriety because you're feeling things again. All of these things that you've dulled and numbed for so long are suddenly back, and it's a high of its own. And that feels a little bit to me, from an outside perspective, if somebody's not religious, that's what it feels like, what he's experiencing here. But that doesn't mean that it won't hold or last. I'm just saying that he's exhibiting those signs of someone who's new to something and they're really in it there as they're feeling these feelings for the first time.
Well, he has been sober for quite a while now, so...
Well, I'm saying from the religious perspective that he's new to God and feeling...
I think that's how everyone experiences it. I mean, I don't know anyone who, like, this late in life has decided to get baptized and wasn't excited about it.
I think people are misunderstanding. I'm not saying that he's newly sober. I'm saying that coming to Christ feels like he's having this overrun of emotions that are connected to his finding God that is coming out in a way that feels that it's because it's new. The difficult thing is, of course, once it starts, you have to and then the hard work starts after that, when the euphoria of the newly transitioning into a new life, whether it's sobriety or newly finding religion, the work starts after that.
Yeah, and I think he said that in the video. Like, now I'm back to the normal like drudgery of my life, where I'm taking care of my kids, I'm doing my job, and that's fine as long as it's not some kind of religious mania, maybe like people say Kanye was going through. Yeah. He seems to be sound of mind here. He seems to be sound of mind, and responding to the critics in a charitable way, and that's good. But again, I just see a lot of negativity in the replies.
Again, that was the other thing.
Not a sin to be ignorant.
What he said there was he's like, I've been reading the comments. I'm like, bro, that's your first mistake. Just don't read the comments.
He is actively asking people for their opinions. Yeah. So at the same time, I guess that's fair. Yeah. And then he also posted another clip from his show that he does, Stay Free, where he explained why I got baptized. So I wanted to play that one as well.
Okay, here we go.
You about my personal baptism this weekend.
Okay, good. Look at that beard. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's perfectly
It's a good beard.
And isn't it extraordinary, any of you that have experienced this already, to get baptized? Do you feel like, how can this ceremony have any real import?
This guy would kill it on Cameo. I want a cameo from this guy.
Actually, yes. That's true.
Just like I want Trump to do product I want Trump what we're missing right now with Trump is like he needs to endorse like all the products he uses, because there would be nothing greater than Trump talking about like where he gets his spray tans, or like who bleaches his teeth, who he got the facelift from.
Yeah, his favorite medical spa.
We need Trump endorsements.
But one person in the reply said you can hear the peace in his voice. I agree. It's either that or he's a good performer, but ultimately resign yourself to the fact that you can't know the inner workings of someone else's conscience, and you never will. It's just, don't like presume that he's being inauthentic or authentic. Just pray for the guy. Like, what's the worst that could happen? I think like maybe he's confused, and in that case you have no power to influence him. Just pray for him. Like, I guess he's saying like what we do on this show, we talk about hypocrisy in media and corruption in the government and institutions. So you talk about like how bad things are in the world, which we do a lot here.
Yeah, it does happen.
I guess just like maybe people are showing a renewed interest in religion because of how bad things are getting.
For sure.
But at the same time, you shouldn't choose Christianity for what it's not. Choose it for what it is, and fully understanding what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like how he's kind of framing it as like it's really easy, just get baptized and you're all good to go. I think that's kind of how it's coming off a little bit, but at the same time, I completely agree. I think he's naturally going to go away from the tarot stuff, because as he learns more about Christianity, and I don't know if did he convert to Catholicism, or is he just
I think he's just like Christian. I don't know.
Yeah. As he leans more into it, he will learn that he does have this like structure to practice the spirituality, to find God, which is I think what he was doing his whole life, you know, like through the tarot or through whatever he's been through in his life. And I think a lot of people, as of lately, are coming to that same conclusion. I think that's also what he's saying indirectly.
He's also using a lot of language that would speak more to people who aren't religious. Like a lot of what he's speaking, like he seems like a guy to me that, assuming that none of this is a character and it's not just a performance, like I can't know, but he seems to be very introspective and someone who searches a lot. He's searching for
sensitive
truth. He's searching for answers. He's searching for this and that. And I suppose that given his journey, that's a good thing if he's going to continue to search. The question is, do you get through that in the entirety of that search without being dismayed, or learning how to deal with the dismay and falling into bad habits or away from your religion, whether we're talking about his sobriety or his faith and stuff like like that. And that level of introspection and, like you said, that level of emotional connection to like what's going on around you can be very, very difficult for people when the world just is, when your job is to read bad news all day and talk about it to the world. That can be a certain type of hell, even if he doesn't know that he's in it. So hopefully it's a strong armor for him.
Yeah, I think overall it's a positive thing for people to hear this from him, because he used to be this persona that was all about hedonism and drugs and promiscuity. And that was like, he was proud of that. It's good for him to be spreading the message, at the very least, that I searched for fulfillment and meaning in all of these different places and through all of these different substances, and I didn't find it, and I found it in Christianity. Like that, overall, I find that to be a positive message.
For sure.
Yeah, like, so I'm going to be doing, assuming that, depending on our schedule next week, I'm supposed to be doing a podcast, like this small podcast, like this podcast called Forge and Anvil. And they want to talk to, they want to talk to someone who is agnostic about, their faith, what they believe. And, because I work with someone who is obviously religious and how that goes. And it's interesting, because I don't really know much beyond the fact that I don't really think about it. Like, it's just not, I haven't felt that call. Right?
Interesting, yeah.
So
it'll be interesting for you to talk to them about it.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious that he's come so far, and he posts a video of himself holding up a tarot card talking about it. He's not even doing tarot in it. He's actually trying to explain kind of how dumb it is.
Well, not
in the video,
exactly.
right?
He was presenting it. He explained what the tarot card was supposed to mean, and then he asked people what they think of tarot, and he asked them essentially if they think that it's compatible with religion, specifically Christianity.
That's so endearingly innocent.
He didn't make his own statement about it, so we really don't know what he thinks of it yet.
Yeah.
And maybe he's not decided yet on what he thinks of it.
Yeah.
I mean, he's so good at his job. I mean, he could bring even people who aren't are going to be like eating popcorn and going along for the journey with him, because he's so good at what he's doing.
There's a reason he's popular.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's go to Super Chats. Let's finish this up. Guys, let's get a second crisis party. Come on.
Yeah, so Brett can turn the AC back off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he has turned it back
Look,
on.
I'm dying here.
We're going to die. Pat the Plumber said, based fraternity. Shane H. Wilder said, as someone going through a probate process, I said that my mom can have my share as they built that up together. I'll worry about inheritance later. Well, that's the selfless take.
Yeah.
Prince Hellion said, Gen Xer here. I'm not giving my son my wealth. I'm teaching him how to earn, grow, and keep wealth before I leave it to him. I worked for it, and he will too. Yeah, I mean, that would be the case for Jeff Goldblum's kids, too.
That's what you should do.
Because they're going to be adults, hopefully, by the time that he dies. And they'll have to build their own lives before they get an inheritance.
Maybe like Al Pacino, who's like 90 gazillion years old, just had a kid, and the kid's he's gonna be 100 years old when the kid has like his 10th birthday or something like that. Or is he in his 80s? He's in his 80s now. That's crazy.
I don't know.
Al Pacino had a kid in his 80s.
It's weird knowing darn well someone else was going to raise it.
Strong swimmers.
He must trust her. Yurishima Utaru says, should say he isn't, then do leave the kids his money. Oh, say that he isn't going to give them the money, then do it anyway.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's what... No, there's something to be said for that, right? To be like, oh, you guys are going to have to work for it yourself, but then... It actually does go to them, so that way they don't live expecting it, and they have to learn to have grace with their father and accept that, he made this decision, but I still love him, right?
Right, and then the will comes out, and he's like, JK.
Here you go. It's like, actually, depending on if they come to my funeral or not, they get it. Like, there's a provision. He's like, if they show up and they say nice things about me, they get to have the money. If they don't, it's going to charity.
JTR11 said Voss water bottle because it has a wider opening.
Oh boy.
Why are we thinking about this? Corey Anderson said, Mary, you look lovely today. Sarah, I like your top. Is it a dress? Brett, nice glasses, 4 eyes. LOL.
It is a dress. And it's the last time I wear a dress into the studio while Brett has control of the air conditioning.
I turned it off. It's off.
You did. Thank you.
Thank you for that. He also said, panel, what is your workout routine? I don't work out, so I don't have a workout routine.
I sit up in bed every morning.
I try to
get out?
I've gotten back into like actually running and like a combination of like running and just jogging after.
Nice.
Usually once it gets dark out and it cools down a little bit now because it's getting hotter out around here. But it's like where I'm staying now, it's like better lit at night. So as long as you dress, wear something
modestly.
that reflects, wear something that reflects. I do that, and then I try to skate at least twice a week.
Nice.
That will be more so in the summer when. Hopefully it's lighter out. It's getting lighter out later now, so hopefully that will jump up to 3 or 4 times a week and do that to stay in shape.
Yeah. For me though, it's walking my dog because I've been so bad lately.
Oh, that's
but
good.
it's beautiful and he enjoys it too. So.
JTR said, which celeb endorsement would boost Trump the most?
None. I don't think it matters.
Taylor Swift.
Oh, that would be crazy.
Yes.
That would be nuclear.
The world would just implode, but
that.
Be worth it.
I just can't even imagine it happening, so I have no idea. He's only gotten like 50 Cent on his side, right? Who else?
I mean, even that is not necessarily true. He always walks it, but did he walk it back
Did he?
last time?
Oh.
He always at least in 2020, he walked it back. He's like, oh, I'm going to vote for Trump. Or he's like, oh, Trump's a good choice. And he's like, oh, just kidding.
Would Swifties vote for Trump if she endorsed Trump?
Some would.
No?
I mean, maybe half.
For sure.
Half, the other half.
A good
would be
amount
like-
of them, at least.
Like the real
would,
question
yeah.
is how much like money would she lose? Like she'd have to be really she gets sick and she's just like, look, I'm gonna throw it all away. Why would you do that? That's insane.
Are they asking like a realistic celebrity that might actually endorse him?
Who's
an undecided?
I honestly can't think of anybody. Does anybody really? I mean, I know that there are people that do, but who the hell actually cares about celebrity political endorsements? We care only so much as it's something to talk about on the show. It's not, first of all, it's not going to ever influence any of my views on politics beyond just this is interesting to talk about.
Yeah, I think it would only move the needle if it's somebody that no one would have ever expected, like Taylor Swift. Pat the plumber said she only wears glasses to bed. LOL. Yes,
Yeah,
that's canon. JTR said great first draft on that script.
That's okay. So
Clearly
yeah.
didn't make it past the first draft.
What my tweet was about it was like the line from the AI and her. I was like, that thing was in desperate need of a rewrite. Like that whole part of that film was just like, man, they could.
I don't trust any AI.
I'm like, just one more pass on that script, guys. Just
or
one
just
more.
don't use the term AI in a movie about AI, right? Because in this future world where it exists and it's developed like that, why would anyone call it that?
I'm not taking.
It'd have a different term, right?
I'm not taking advice from something without a pulse.
Yeah, that's
something like just something a little bit less linear.
yeah.
Yes.
Shane H. Wilder said Brett doesn't sleep in glasses. Do you also not know how the 3 shells work?
That's a Demolition Man reference.
Wait, I thought it was Starship Troopers.
Or is it Starship? It's one. Demolition Man.
Don't know.
I do not sleep in glasses. It makes it very, very difficult. Sometimes you fall asleep. But the problem is, like, there have been times, like, back in the past where it's like you take off your glasses and you put them on the bed because you're like, it's like I'm not reaching over to the other side of the table, and then you sit on them, or you roll over on them, and then you immediately, if you want something to wake you up really, really suddenly every morning, it's just the most expensive way to have to wake up is to just roll over onto something expensive that you break, and then you shoot awake. And you're up for the rest of the day.
Maybe you need the alarm that throws you out of the bed.
No,
the same way you threw yourself into
yes.
the bed.
I want that thing that violently shakes you out of bed and like just has like police sirens. First of all,
Or the one you have to chase.
Only if I live in like an apartment where I can ruin somebody else's day, I guess. But like, yeah, that thing is awesome.
Shane H. Wilder said, Carnell said, Jayla. Oh, I read that one. Corey Anderson, what is the most innocuous thing people do that drives you nuts?
Innocuous? Does that mean
saying
like
the word
innocent?
nourish? If in Brett's case, that's probably.
I'm sorry.
it.
I hate it when
Saying the
people
word
who are going to
empath.
sit here and talk about that too. But like it's
Nourishing my body. You hate that.
I actually really like that saying.
Really?
I do. I enjoy it.
It's just filled
When you're
with,
drinking half and half, you're nourishing your body.
From a
I'm
plastic
exposing you
water
right now.
bottle.
Sarah was drinking half and half out of a
Lies.
plastic water bottle when she got here.
It's just full of hippie,
At least it was organic, right?
It's just full of hippie superiority, like a hippie superiority complex of a bunch of like right-wing crunchies that are going to tell me about seed oils and all of this stuff. And I I actively could not scroll or turn something off fast enough than somebody doing that.
Lighthouse Films said, love the show, guys. Random, but wanted to get your thoughts on Dune Part 2. Despite Zendaya, I think it was one of the greatest films I've ever seen.
Wow.
Damn, despite Zendaya.
Despite her being in it.
I liked it. I thought that despite the fact that I wouldn't watch it again, I'm not so attached to the film. It shows that CGI in and of itself isn't the problem. Unfocused, unplanned, and unprepared CGI is the problem. And when a filmmaker approaches their work with care and careful planning and an actual plot to accomplish, that it can be done well, meaning that it's shot in a way that feels like it has its own identity, as opposed to just dumping a bunch of slop on screen in pretty colors and saying, here's your movie.
That's Marvel for you.
Yes.
Well, I didn't care for Dune 2 all that much, to be honest, but it's not a genre that I would enjoy really anyway.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I didn't. I saw the first one and I thought it was great, but to me it just didn't flow very much, and I didn't know enough about the background to enjoy it. I would watch the second one though.
You will?
I would. Yeah, I'd be down to.
I mean, I feel like the sad thing is like what you're missing out on is the theater experience. Like, it is meant to be seen on a big screen. It's you're going to appreciate it less on even a big TV. Like,
Really?
it really is meant to be seen on IMAX. I tell you what I am watching and enjoying, I'm 3 episodes in, is the 1997 Todd McFarlane Spawn TV series, the animated series that was on HBO. Holy crap, is it dark and awesome.
Wait, what is it called?
It's it's a Spawn animated series based on the character, not the movie.
Oh,
Spawn.
I thought you were using that as like he spawned it.
No,
like
no,
he
no.
spawned the show.
No, it's it is unbelievably dark and unbelievably violent and really it's just not PG. It's very much for adults. There is a scene where he's talking to the clown, and he's this guy that is essentially talking about how he's controlling him. He's one of the people that's going to be controlling him now that he is a servant to Malbogia, is looking at a picture of of Spawn's wife and jerking off to the picture while basically insulting him.
Okay.
It's crazy.
Huh. Is that really an insult though?
It's, I mean, yes.
It's not an insult. Yeah.
It's really, really dark. It's really, really brooding. It's got a lot of atmosphere. It kind of reminds me in a bit of a way of Sin City in its tone and its execution.
What style of animation is it?
2D.
Okay.
It's not 3D animation. It's really, really good so far. I'm looking for it. I almost wish that I had a reason to make like hey guys, here's a review of this unbelievably dark series from 1997. And he does these intros every episode where Todd McFarlane himself, the creator of the character in the series, opens it up. It's like an R.L. Stine Goosebumps intro where like the camera comes in and pans to him and he turns and he asks you a question that is pondered in the episode. And it's great because what it is it's showing that this dude, he's not concerned with, again, this is 1997, so he's not concerned with identity politics. He's not concerned with anything outside of, this is this very, very serious character that I love, and I'm asking you very, very pointed questions about the art that I'm creating. Ponder it as you're about to watch this show.
Instead of like telling you what to think.
Yes, it's great.
Steve G88 said Sara on Twice in the same week, worth a couple dollars. Thank you.
Couple dollars. Thank you.
We got bonus Sara this week. Shane H. Wilder said people want me to use AI on some of my stuff. No, that they wouldn't be as fun or humorous. Well, I mean, we wouldn't hold it against you, but good for sticking your ground. Shane H. Wilder, I grant him some leeway. He put out a video praying the rosary that was nice, but he didn't understand that there are mysteries to contemplate with it. I think he needs some direction and catechesis.
Well, let's give him time and grace.
It's just not anyone's place in his Twitter replies to give him that direction, honestly. JM Director said hippie Christians can be the most powerful force in driving young people to Christ. Respect.
I mean, when I looked at the video, what I see is something that is a fantastic, even if it's still to your to what you're saying, like he's not quite there yet. He's making mistakes. It's still a great way to bring people that may not have ever thought about it to it because he is so engaging. Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah. It may not be a perfect representation in anyone else's estimation of what Christianity is, but it gets them in the door. Yeah. And showing that grace to him in that moment is also a great way to say, hey, you're not going to be perfect at first. It's a journey. Come on this journey with us.
Yeah.
I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I also watched his interview with Jordan Peterson that came out recently. And maybe it's just the way that he talks on camera, at least. It's like hard for me to follow what point he's trying to make or if he's trying to make a point at any given moment. And he asks a lot of rhetorical questions.
Like what?
Like you could see him doing it in all of those clips where he asks a lot of questions. He doesn't make a lot of like declarative statements like, I'm deciding to do this because of this reason. Mm-hmm. And like, it's just hard to follow.
Yeah.
But that's probably what makes him so engaging as a personality online. Shane H. Wilder said, there's a reason we call newly minted Catholics neophytes. They're newly planted and need time to grow with the fertilization of love and patience.
Yeah, and the internet just doesn't have the patience and it definitely doesn't have the love.
Yeah. Usually Matt said, Tradcath AI waifu, no sexy time, just scripture discussion, church outings, and wholesome family fun. Would it save the men?
Tradcath AI waifu. Okay.
Don't feel great about that idea. How about no?
The potential misuse of that would be too great for so many. I say don't do it.
I mean, yeah, I thought the point of being Catholic is, you gotta get married and have a bunch of kids, right? And AI can't do that. High Villager 75 said, Sarah, the other day you said Aquarius people think they're the main character. Is that a roundabout way of saying we're conceited?
Let me think about that actually for 1 second.
Is that true?
It's not necessarily a bad thing, what you said, right?
Can you tell me?
No, and you know what? Like a lot of times they can be. I mean, like,
so who
I was
actually
not
is?
saying they
If
were
it's not
conceited.
Aquarius, if it's not the Aquarius people that are the main character, who the hell is?
Well, they're not. They just think
Could be
they're
anyone.
the main character.
Yeah, they just think they're the main character.
Is there any group that is inherently the main character, no matter what? Are the Libra people inherently always the main character?
No, I mean
no one is the main
maybe an
character.
Aries or a Leo, maybe.
I always say err on the side of thinking you're never the main character. You'll be happier.
Do you know about Brett's astrology chart thing?
I do, and that is very confidential information.
Has he told you?
Has he told? No, I had to figure
or you
it
had
out.
to figure it out for yourself.
I remember I literally took a book and I took it to
share.
Brett.
If you want to share, you can. I'm an open book. Okay, I'm an open book.
Are you sure people might try to do
it's
like
that
Google
classified
on you?
info that they were sending you?
Yes,
in the
that's
Trump
what that
text.
was in that Trump text.
Yeah, it was your horoscope.
Do you want me to
Trump.
announce your big three?
Sure.
Okay, this isn't
No one in the
confirmed.
chat will know what those are.
I don't know what
but
that means.
This
but
wasn't
sure.
confirmed, but based on Brett's birthday and this book that I had, I narrowed it down, and based on his personality, I decided that this was his big three, indeed. And I have guessed people's signs before, so I'm pretty sure that Brett here is a Cancer sun, a Taurus moon, and a Gemini rising.
Okay, I don't know what any of that means.
If any of you guys understand what that means,
Does that mean something?
that was for you.
It does. I just dropped
Does
some
that mean I'm
truth
going to die
bombs
young or
before.
something? Like, what does that mean?
She dropped a truth bomb.
Okay.
I just dropped a truth
We don't
bomb.
know what it
like,
means.
Yeah, and you don't even know.
You're a wicked witch.
It belongs in hell. No, I won't
I
say that.
disavow it.
Pat the plumber said the frat is at 108K. That's a mighty rager. LOL. They should use that to pay for their student loans, but they won't.
I mean, maybe their parents are sending them to school. You know?
Hopefully,
Are they going to spend
yeah.
that 6 figures on the rager?
That's so awesome. If they
That
do.
would be awesome.
How is that even possible? Corey Anderson said, ladies, you can only pick one for the rest of your life. Shave your armpits or shave your legs. Which do you find more annoying?
Damn.
Why are you asking us questions like this?
This is the
legs,
real
man.
poll. This would have been the real poll for today, which, by the way, I'm ending the poll. 81% of you, it looks like, say that you would give your wealth to your kids.
Okay, solid answer.
Good call. Ladies, you got to answer.
We do. Do we? Do we though?
I said legs.
Okay.
I already answered.
Wait, that you would opt to shave your legs?
Yeah, if I had to choose, which
well,
of all the things to ask me to choose between, but
I guess I would answer the same. But I don't
situation.
understand why you keep sending us questions about our armpit hair.
Yeah, someone keeps asking you about armpit hair.
It's the same
getting
guy.
A little out of
it's
hand.
the same guy,
Right,
and it's
man.
out of hand.
We're not answering next time.
Yeah, not next time. Rhaegar Targaryen said the AI is voiced by Simu Liu. Also, I highly recommend the Friday Night Tights reaction to the Atlas trailer. I thought I was gonna die laughing.
To go and check that out. Yeah, Simu Liu is kind of perfect for that. He does have a great, he has a great face for a villain. Like, he does.
Because he looks evil.
He looks, no, it's not evil. He has a cool look when he's not, when he was in,
Crazy Rich Asians.
No, not Crazy Rich Asians. What was the...
Don't know anything.
Shang-Chi. I was told I was wrong. It used to be Shang-Chi.
Oh.
And he's doing the earnest face. It's stupid. Look cool.
Look cool. Stop.
Aim for cool.
Don't look earnest. Look cool.
Yeah.
Everyone, don't look earnest.
Do your cool face.
Look cool.
Do your cool face.
Unless you're Russell Brand, then I guess you should do earnest.
Brett, do your cool face. We want to see your cool face.
It's very much like Blue Steel from Zoolander.
Do it.
I can't.
Gemini rising face.
I might do it before the end of the episode. Yeah, it's basically
Yeah. The Manic Mustache said, I use my cast brew coffee as a delivery system for my heavy cream. # no homo.
Okay, let's get a second Christmas party. I'm just adding that as an aside.
All right.
Did you turn the AC back on?
Yes, I did. I'm dying.
You're a terrorist with that.
Siren, no, leave it on until we get the party. No, leave it off. Leave it off, please.
Okay. Shane H. Wilder said, WTF, Corey. Weird. It is weird. And
Is
Rhaegar
he the one who keeps
Targaryen-
asking about the armpit hair?
Yes.
Stop.
It was a repeat offender.
Repeat
Rhaegar
offender.
Targaryen said, like Brett, at the end of the day, live, laugh, love. It's like nourishment for, the soul.
Yes, I know, you're welcome,
Nourish,
like.
move, give.
Like.
So I see comments from that from time to time. It is harder when you're doing the live show, to cut out all the likes that you can possibly add in there as placeholders for words that you have to say during the show.
Oh, this is killing me.
Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I think I get what you're saying. In one of my high school classes, when a student, when a student would answer a question and use the word as a filler word, our teacher told us the rest of the class has to say pickles.
Dude,
you have to
honestly,
say
props to that
pickles when
teacher,
someone
though.
says that.
Anybody who says teachers are underpaid, just tell them about that story.
As soon as someone would say the entire class would just scream pickles. It was more interrupting the discussion than a filler word would have.
Did you guys stop saying though?
No.
Like this video. Like this video.
Can you like the video?
Please?
Can you subscribe
Wow, you guys
if you haven't already?
Feel like I'm back in California, just back at home right now.
We do it for you. High Vulture 75 said, how long do you think you would last on Hot Ones?
Who? Any of us?
How long, Sarah? How long would you last on Hot Ones?
Let's see.
Not very
Back
long.
when I used to have a really high heat tolerance, actually. I used to put habanero peppers in my salads.
Oh.
Because I was just that addicted to the heat.
The
once you
pain.
build once you build a tolerance, you get past the pain and you just taste the deliciousness of the spice itself. So back then I probably could have gone all the way. Right now, about halfway, at least.
Do you watch Hot Ones?
I've seen a few of them.
I just don't get the appeal, but that's me. DCNC said, guess my sign. You got a 1 in 12. I guess you know nothing
1 in
about this
12?
guy, but try to guess his sign. You have a 1 in 12 chance of being correct.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's just a guess at that point. I've never met you, and I don't even know
Some
what
of
you
them
look
are more
like.
common than others.
Actually,
though.
hold on. Not to go off on a tangent here, but who was it that said Rhaegar Targaryen? I'm going to make sure to like that.
Oh, yeah, you
super
have
chat.
to like it.
Oh, nice.
I liked your super chat, Rhaegar. Are you happy about that? Yeah.
We hope you are. I don't know if you're going to attempt to guess this guy's sign
guess,
or
Sarah.
not.
Someone else guess. It's just a guess.
Pisces.
Who would be born in September?
September could be a Virgo.
Because you're more likely to be conceived in the winter, right?
Yeah.
I would guess that. Shane H. Wilder said, she's a witch. She turned me into a newt. I got better. What? I'm sorry. I don't know what you were getting at there.
Like.
Corey Anderson said, I don't have an armpit hair kink. Is that even a thing? I was just trying to ask odd questions that you would actually read.
I saw a meme earlier that said millennials' favorite kink is pretending to be a pair of homeowners.
You role play as financially stable.
My millennials' favorite kink is to role play as homeowners.
Great stuff.
True.
High Voltage 75 said, The Rock sold the stunner the best. Shane McMahon, close second.
Yeah.
It's a wrestling thing?
Yes, it's a wrestling thing. I still think that a lot of people, like one of the one that they always point to is the Scott Hall selling of the stunner at WrestleMania 18. But it's only like that because Scott Hall was so tall that he doesn't have to like drop to his knees when he takes the finishing move. The move is basically like Stone Cold grabs you by the head, like with your chin underneath it, and it just drops you like this, and people like pop up and then fall over. And Scott Hall like launches himself into orbit off his feet, and there's like whole meme culture around like he hits the stunner and he like literally enters the atmosphere and then comes back down.
That's what you do every time that you sit down in your chair.
I will, however, say a better question is, guys, who sells the pedigree the best? And the answer I will give you is there's a clip online where Triple H, when he wins the Intercontinental title from Chris Jericho, when he was in the middle of the two-man power trip storyline with Stone Cold Steve Austin, literally hits the greatest pedigree ever, where when Jericho hits the mat, he sells it like a stunner, where like his head hits and then he flips over on his back. Go find that clip online. It's fantastic.
Corey Anderson sent an even worse question. Would you rather eat cottage cheese out of Gorlock's belly button or have all of your fingers sewn together? Is neither an option?
Can I change?
Neither is not an option, so what will it be?
Who's going to answer first?
Can the fingers be unsewed after that?
Yeah. Shouldn't they?
Oh, okay. Can you snip through them?
But wait, for the purpose of the question, let's just assume you have to have your fingers sewn together for life.
Literally, I heard that. I go, why Gorlock, but also why cottage cheese?
Yeah. Yeah. I think if we're going with fingers sewn together for life, I would go for the temporary one, which is Gorlock.
The temporary pain.
Temporary pain, I guess.
I'd have to break my sobriety. Maybe
get super drunk.
Get just effed up and.
But then you're gonna get nauseous. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, at least you could puke it right up after.
Yeah. Yeah, and whatever else is in that belly button.
Thanks, I hate it.
Okay, Shane H. Wilder.
Reach down there to clean it out, man.
Do I like the video or like the video?
Oh.
Well, if you like the video, you're unliking it. So just like it once.
We can do a follow-up video about the word rather than like the word like.
Thank you. This is like our how many crisis parties? Our second crisis party?
Second one.
Yep. Thank you. Okay, Shane H. Wilder said, damn it, Corey. Thank you for expressing that. DC&C, Southern Hemisphere summer dingleberries try again.
Okay.
I don't know what that means. New Guy Don't Haze Me said, I know Brett and Mary have been on this mysterious Timcast show, but has Sarah ever been on? If she hasn't yet, would she ever go on if invited? Would you?
Oh, gosh, I don't think I would get invited. I don't think that I...
but if you were...
Bro, I've been invited.
Yeah, I couldn't really say no.
I've been invited. You'll be fine.
I'd be very silent.
Yeah.
So that's always like, so most of the time when you do IRL, I'm like, I'm just going to sit there because, there's a bunch of people there that can do the talking, but then my inevitable inability to shut up starts and I can't.
I wish I had that.
Me too.
Yeah.
At least on IRL. Like, I am fine on this show, but on IRL when they're just talking about political stuff I don't pay attention to. I've got nothing.
I do laugh. I'm like, oh, so you need another person to come in and tell you the media is evil and politicians suck. I guess I can do that. It's true.
I'll be that guy.
Like, I can do that. Like, I don't know how interesting that is, but I can do that. But
It's a wonder that Tim isn't depressed, honestly.
yeah. And
With
most
the amount of
time,
bad news he reads every day.
Whenever I do that, I very much, even though I do talk as much as I can, because I feel like, because there have been times where it's like nobody says anything, and like the moment just sits there, and we don't really.
Does it
have
happen that often?
Not a lot.
Because I don't,
but it has happened.
watch it regularly.
Like,
at
I'm
least.
saying it's happened at least a couple of times when I've been on.
Okay.
And
But it's because you're there ruining the vibe.
Correct.
So everyone feels uncomfortable and they stop talking.
That's exactly right.
They're like, can someone get Brett out of here?
I like that
he's,
idea.
He's killing the vibe.
Like, the idea is like, there's a guest you don't like, so my goal is to just go there and be toxic and just ruin the vibe for everybody.
Problematic.
The Manic Mustache said, I'm like a mustache that is here for the party.
Like, are you?
Who's a little manic.
Okay. DCNC, Sarah, you been to Austin to see the bats? What?
I've been to Austin in my life, but I never saw the bats.
What bats?
Under the bridge. I have been there for that.
Yeah.
It was underwhelming.
What
when
happens?
I went. Like, so all these bats come out at dusk, if I remember correctly. It wasn't all that impressive the night that we went to try to do that. It was back in like 2021 when Tim was doing the show with Alex Jones.
Okay.
And like everybody like you got to go do this, and we went, and it wasn't all that great. But I've been told that was like an anomaly.
It's like a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it was an anomaly.
It happens every day?
Apparently.
What
Okay.
what do they do?
They just fly out from the bridge
Yeah.
when the sun comes up.
I'm on the very minimal memories of this happening, but I just remember going there to see it, and there was all sorts of, the bridge was full of people to watch this specific thing.
And they go there every day.
I mean, I don't know if everybody goes there every day, but they were there the day we were there.
Mr. Anderson said, once the number 3 being the third number being reached, the lobbest thou thy holy hand grenade of Antioch towards thy foe, who, being naughty in my sight, shall snuff it. Armaments 221. Okay, thank you for that. I think we were all caught up on Super Chats. On that note.
All right, guys. Before we go, would you hit the like button on this video, please, and subscribe to this channel? Like to this channel. If you have not subscribed here yet already, please and thank you. And Sarah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. We are hoping to have our physical location open this summer. I've been getting that question more and more often through the emails. But until then, you can still always buy our coffee on castbrew.com. We're starting to get the coffee, or trying to get the coffee, into stores. So once that does happen, we'll definitely announce that too, where you can go to physical locations other than our own and purchase our coffee. In the meantime, buy the merch.
Cool.
And, yeah, thanks.
Perfect. All right, Mary.
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
So, guys, if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. PCC is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would prefer to listen rather than watch. If you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok, because we and they will soon be banned, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. Mary, there's a couple more there.
Tacty Platty said, Brett, been to Bunnyman Bridge in Virginia or Exorcist Stairs in DC?
Bro, I was along for the ride for the bats in Austin. I don't normally go.
That's not a thing you do.
I don't normally go exploring bridges willy-nilly.
Whose idea was it? Who was like, let's go look at the bats?
You don't just explore bridges willy-nilly. Are you insane?
I got a job, okay? I got stuff to do. I'm busy. I'm busy, guys. So no, I haven't, but I guess that sounds interesting. I just don't know when I'd find the time.
Okay.
And there's one more there.
Shane H. Wilder said both the Witch Line and Holy Hand Grenade are Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Okay, didn't get the reference.
All right, guys, we will be back with another podcast tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, guys.